Chapter 2375. The path of life in the left eye had no abnormalities and entered smoothly. This made many people's eyes light up. With the first one, there would be a second one. Then, another person stepped toward the path of life in the left eye. It was an expert from the evil god race. Like the previous person, there were no abnormalities. He successfully entered the milky white vortex in the left eye and disappeared. Then, even more people entered the left eye. However, there were also some people who revealed doubtful expressions. Was it really that easy? Then, what was the meaning of the other path? Lu Ming and Dandan also had the same thoughts. Only by putting oneself in a desperate situation can one obtain a great fortuitous encounter. I will take the path of death. Someone spoke, his eyes flashing with madness. He stepped forward and actually walked toward the path of death. Many people looked toward this person. They all wanted to see if the path of death would really lead to death. Bang! That person stepped onto the path of death. His body trembled violently and his complexion instantly turned pale as if he had suffered a heavy blow. Then, he screamed miserably and his body flew backward. He fell heavily onto the ground and vomited large mouthfuls of blood. However, he did not die. He was still alive. What is there in the path of death? Someone immediately asked. Pressure, incomparably heavy pressure that bombards the physical body and soul. That person only said one sentence and immediately sat down cross-legged, circulating his energy to treat his injuries. Pressure? In that case, it might not necessarily be a path of death. As long as one can withstand that pressure, the path of death is also a path of life. Many people's eyes lit up. From then on, some people walked toward the path of death. This was because many people thought so. The path of life was too simple. There might not be any benefits in entering it. Perhaps, the great fortuitous encounter would be in the path of death. Then, there were people who continuously stepped toward the path of death. However, the path of death in the right eye had an astonishingly strong pressure. Those who stepped on it were all sent flying, finding it difficult to continue. I'll do it. A burly evil god race member roared and stepped forward, stepping onto the path of death. Bang! Bang! With every step he took, there would be intense tremors. His entire body trembled, clearly under great pressure. However, he gritted his teeth and did not stop, slowly approaching the right eye. In the end, he reached the end. He took a step forward and entered the right eye of the statue, disappearing without a trace. Success! Finally, someone successfully stepped into the right eye. It seems like 6-star martial monarchs should be able to enter. Lu Ming muttered. That evil god tribe member from earlier was a 6-star great emperor. Following that, more and more people entered the path of death. However, if one was not a 6-star great emperor, it would be impossible for them to reach the path of death. At the very least, one would need to be a 6-star great emperor to reach the path of death. Lu Ming, which path should we take? Dandan transmitted his voice to Lu Ming. Of course it's the right eye. Lu Ming said. Can you do it? Dandan pursed his lips. Why don't you give it a try? Lu Ming smiled. Bang! After saying this, Lu Ming stepped forward, heading towards the right eye's path of death. Boom! The moment he stepped on it, a terrifying force acted on him, penetrating every corner of his body and even his soul. At this moment, Lu Ming's body trembled non-stop. At the same time, 17 types of laws covered his body, resisting the external pressure. Although Lu Ming's battle strength was slightly weaker than a 6-star great emperor, Lu Ming's defense was definitely not weaker than a 6-star great emperor's. Although it was very difficult for him to walk, he moved forward step by step at a steady speed. He was very determined. Dandan followed behind Lu Ming. This guy seemed to be quite relaxed. Although his cultivation was only a 6-star great emperor, his battle strength was definitely comparable to a peak great emperor. He could even suppress a peak great emperor. After a while, Lu Ming finally approached the right eye of the statue. Phew! Lu Ming let out a long breath, feeling sore all over. Under the terrifying pressure, he had also suffered some injuries. However, under the effect of the indestructible ancient scripture, his injuries were recovering rapidly. Whoosh! Lu Ming took a step forward and stepped into the pitch-black vortex in the right eye. He immediately felt the world spinning around him as if he had just taken a long-distance teleportation formation. Following this, Lu Ming discovered that he had arrived in a huge secret chamber. The secret chamber was extremely huge, spanning over 10,000 li, as if it was a world on its own. On top of that, as soon as Lu Ming entered the place, he immediately discovered that the pressure acting on him had disappeared without a trace. It was as easy as when he was in the Tai Ching heaven domain. Lu Ming could feel his body brimming with energy. With a quick glance, Lu Ming discovered that the people who had entered the right eye were all flickering back and forth in the secret chamber, as if they were trying to find something. However, this secret chamber was completely empty. There was nothing inside. Not even a speck of dust could be seen. Meanwhile, not far away from Lu Ming, a figure flickered and Dandan appeared. As soon as Dandan appeared, his eyes immediately scanned the place, but he soon wore a disappointed look. There's nothing here. Did we guess wrong this time? We came here for nothing. Dandan wore a bitter face. Let's wait and see. Lu Ming rubbed his nose. They had really come here for nothing this time. Everyone waited patiently. As time passed, more and more people entered the secret chamber. Almost all the top experts of the evil god tribe and the heaven domain had entered the secret chamber. Other than Lu Ming, they were all 6-star great emperors and 7-star great emperors. There were a total of 60 to 70 people. After a few hours, no one had entered the secret chamber. Obviously, those who could enter had all entered. We won't be unable to get out, right? Suddenly, someone spoke. Everyone's heart skipped a beat, and their expressions turned ugly. Indeed, although the secret chamber was huge, it was surrounded by stone walls, and no one had any way out. They wouldn't be trapped here forever after coming in, right? Everyone looked at each other, and some of their faces turned pale. Dead end. They thought that the right eye was a dead end. Could it be true? Buzz. Just as everyone was feeling uneasy, the void vibrated slightly, and many patterns appeared. Then, these patterns formed a figure. It was a young and beautiful woman. What was strange was that this woman also had a pair of beautiful snow-white wings on her back. She was extremely similar to that statue. Everyone looked at this woman curiously. I'm the spirit of this place. The young woman spoke. Spirit of the formation. Lu Ming's eyes flickered, and he thought of the huge pagoda from before. It had also given birth to a spirit of the formation. It seemed that the formations in this place were too advanced and had been around for too long. They had even given birth to sentience. I was created by my master back then. My master is the original body of this statue, an unparalleled and invincible figure. This place is the eye of my master's statue. The spirit of the formation explained. Senior, where is your master now? Someone from the heaven domain asked. The owner of this statue was an unparalleled expert, even stronger than the heavenly emperor. If he was still alive, it would have a great impact on the war between the heaven domain and the evil god tribe. Whichever side he chose to stand on, that side would win for sure. Chapter 2376. The Matrix Spirit pondered for a moment and said, My master left countless years ago. Left? Many people were puzzled. What did she mean by left? Did she mean that he left the Void Sacred Island? Yes, I once heard my master say that he had completed his task and was going to leave this world and go back. The Matrix Spirit tried to recall. This, everyone was even more puzzled. Left this world? Went back? Went back where? Did this world refer to the heaven realm, the primordial realm, the evil god realm, or all of them? Only Dandan showed a trace of shock and anticipation in his eyes, but he hid it well and no one noticed. When my master left, he said that after he left, his training ground would be found by someone sooner or later. If someone enters this place, they can give away some of the useless things he left behind back then. It can be considered a kind of fate. Also, let me tell you, you can only get it from the right eye. If you enter the left eye, you won't get anything. The matrix spirit said again, blinking her eyes slyly like a young girl. Many people's eyes suddenly lit up. This was a useless item left behind by an unparalleled expert. It might be useless to him, but to others, it would most likely be an unparalleled treasure. Since you have gotten the treasures, leave this place. Leave this island. I don't want anyone to disturb my master's training ground. When the time comes, all of you will have to leave. The matrix spirit spoke again. This time, after she finished speaking, a small silver-white bag appeared in her hand. She opened the bag and poured it out. Suddenly, balls of yellow light flew out of the bag. Those were storage rings and storage bracelets. They were covered with a layer of yellow light, like stars in the night sky. Everyone's eyes were burning with passion. These storage rings and bracelets were definitely not empty. They most likely contained treasures. It's mine. It's mine. A loud roar rang out. Everyone couldn't hold themselves back and rushed out, rushing towards those storage rings and bracelets. Get lost. You're courting death. Suddenly, a fierce battle broke out, and a fierce battle unfolded. In this place, there was no distinction between the evil god race and the heavenly realm. This was because everyone had selfish motives and wanted to take the treasures for themselves. A civil war broke out between the evil god race, and they were killing each other. There was also a civil war between the creatures of the heaven realm, killing each other. Ah! A miserable shriek rang out as a 6-star great emperor from the evil god tribe was chopped into two by another evil god tribe member. He died on the spot. The other was a human from the heaven realm. His body was torn apart by a true dragon from the heaven realm. Tragic. In this place, there were only treasures and no factions. Lu Ming and Dandan also moved. Lu Ming dashed forward and grabbed a storage ring that was glowing with a yellow light. Dandan, on the other hand, pounced on a storage bracelet. Die! One of the members of the evil god race roared in rage and charged toward Lu Ming. This evil god tribe member had the cultivation of a 6-star great emperor. His battle prowess was extremely astonishing. Wang! Lu Ming's muscles vibrated rapidly. At the same time, he used the 6-feathered divine wings to increase his speed to the maximum. Swoosh! With a flash, Lu Ming dodged the attack of this evil god tribe member. He appeared beside the storage ring and grabbed it. Courting death. That evil god tribe member was enraged and charged toward Lu Ming crazily. His third eye shot out a ray of destructive light and turned into a ferocious beast. He roared and pounced toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming did not fight head-on. Instead, he continued to use his movement technique to dodge the other party's attack. Lu Ming could fight against a 6-star great emperor with his own battle prowess. However, he was most likely not a match for the other party. There was no need to waste his energy. As for the heavenly emperor's physical body, Lu Ming did not want to use it yet. This was because the formation spirit was still floating in the air and holding on to that bag. Who knew if there were any higher-grade treasures in that bag? He would think about it again when there were higher-grade treasures. On the other side, Dandan had also successfully obtained a storage bracelet. His battle prowess was extremely strong. With just a few moves, he had blasted a 6-star great sovereign to the point where he vomited blood and obtained the storage bracelet. After he obtained the storage bracelet, he set his eyes on another storage bracelet. Lu Ming's figure flashed rapidly. He dodged the attack of that evil god tribe member and rushed toward another storage ring. Beside this storage ring, there were two 6-star great emperors fighting over it. These two 6-star great emperors, One was from the evil god tribe and the other was an expert from the heaven realm. The two of them fought non-stop and were extremely intense. Both of them were injured. Lu Ming rushed over and alarmed the two of them. Don't even think about it. The two of them attacked Lu Ming at the same time. Lu Ming raised his speed to the maximum. His muscles vibrated billions of times per second. His six-feathered divine wings flapped rapidly and he successfully dodged one of the attacks. However, Lu Ming did not dodge the other attack and was hit. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with ruthlessness. He directly rushed over and took the attack head-on. Boom! Lu Ming was hit. His body shook violently as if his body was about to be torn apart. However, Lu Ming gritted his teeth and took the attack head-on. At the same time, he circulated the indestructible ancient scripture to recover. Because of this, Lu Ming appeared beside the storage ring in a flash and kept it. Lu Ming successfully took 2 storage rings. Hand over the storage rings. Courting death. The 3 experts who had their storage rings taken away by Lu Ming were all filled with killing intent as they charged toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming circulated the indestructible ancient scripture to heal his injuries while dodging their attacks. At this moment, the entire secret chamber was in the midst of a massacre. 6-star great emperors and 7-star great emperors were killing each other. There were people dying constantly. It was extremely tragic. As for those storage rings and bracelets, they were all taken away. Soon, there were only a few storage rings left on the field. Kid, hand over the treasures. A purple-haired middle-aged man stared at Lu Ming and charged toward Lu Ming. His battle strength was shockingly strong. This was a peak great emperor. Moreover, he was from the royal family of the evil god tribe. His strength was extremely terrifying. Lu Ming's expression changed. Facing such an expert, if he did not use his heavenly emperor body, he would not be a match for him. Now is not the time. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. His figure flashed rapidly as he dodged the other party's attack. Do you think you can escape? You will die in my hands. The royal family member of the evil god tribe said coldly as he charged toward Lu Ming. This caused the 3 6-star great emperors who were chasing after Lu Ming to stop with a look of fear. Die your sister. Let me take you on. At this moment, a disdainful voice rang out. Then, a huge palm slammed down toward the royal family member of the evil god tribe. The palm was covered with all kinds of runes that interweaved with terrifying power. The royal family member of the evil god tribe struck out with his palm and collided with the palm. An earth-shattering explosion erupted. Then, the royal family member of the evil god tribe trembled and retreated continuously. Swoosh! Dandan appeared beside Lu Ming. Chapter 2377. Seeing Dandan arrive, Lu Ming heaved a sigh of relief. Dandan's combat strength was indeed strong. He actually defeated a royal member of the evil god tribe in one move. Moreover, it was a peak great emperor. The royal member of the evil god tribe stared at Dandan with purple light flashing in his eyes. He said coldly, "World Divine Turtle, that's good too. I'll get rid of you today to prevent you from becoming a disaster in the future." Boom! A resplendent purple light erupted from the royal member of the evil god tribe. It was incomparably dazzling, like a purple flame burning fiercely. Endless runes shone on Dandan's body. A world slowly appeared in his body. The battle between the two sides was about to erupt. But at this time, the storage rings and storage bracelets that Zhenling poured out earlier were all snatched away. Don't worry, there's more. In the sky, Zhenling chuckled, picked up the bag, and poured it out again. This time, balls of yellow light flew out from the bag again. This time, the number of balls of light that flew out was not many, only a dozen or so. However, the light emitted by each was incomparably resplendent, 10 times more dazzling than before. Within each ball of light was a weapon. There were close to 20 weapons, and each one emitted a terrifying aura. That was the aura of the Heavenly Tao. Heavenly Tao weapon. Everyone's hearts shook wildly. Blazing flames burst forth from their eyes as they stared fixedly at the close to 20 weapons. To be precise, there were 19 weapons. 19 Heavenly Tao weapons. Mine, it's mine. The Heavenly Tao weapon is mine. Many people's eyes were filled with blazing greed. Swoosh. 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 Everyone moved at the same time, rushing into the sky. Heavenly Tao weapons were too precious. Many heavenly emperors did not have them. The people here were all 6-star great emperors, peak great emperors. The next step was to break through to the heavenly emperor realm. Once they successfully broke through to the heavenly emperor realm, with the Heavenly Tao weapon, their strength would skyrocket. They would be able to stabilize their footing among the heavenly emperors. Even if they could not break through to the great emperor realm, selling them to the heavenly emperors would also be invaluable. Who would not be tempted by such treasures? A terrifying battle broke out in an instant. In the previous battle, about a dozen people had died, but there were still about 60 people left. 60 people and only 19 Heavenly Tao soldiers. They were destined to fight to the death. Kill. Kill. This time, it was even more tragic. Those peak great emperors attacked with all their might. In an instant, a few 6-star great emperors were killed. Lu Ming and Dandan also soared into the sky and chose their respective targets. This time, Lu Ming did not hesitate at all. He took out the Heavenly Emperor physical body right away. Lu Ming merged with the celestial Thearcha's body, and his speed reached the extreme as he charged toward a spear. There were also 3 other people rushing towards the spear. 2 6-star great emperors and 1 7-star great emperor. Kill. Lu Ming shouted as he slashed out with the stone sword in his hand. Bang. A 6-star great monarch was sent flying after being struck by Lu Ming's slash, spurting out mouthfuls of blood. The Heavenly Emperor's physical body's energy had reached 100%. It was extremely powerful and was not any weaker than a peak great emperor. The other 6-star great emperor was also sent flying by another peak great emperor. Then, he pounced on the spear with Lu Ming. Swoosh. Lu Ming was 1 step ahead. He stretched out his big hand and grabbed the long spear. Courting death. The peak great emperor shouted coldly as he attacked Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming did not dodge. This was the Heavenly Emperor's physical body. It was sturdy and had amazing defense. Unless the Heavenly Emperor attacked, Lu Ming did not believe that a great emperor could break it. Boom! The other party's attack landed on the Heavenly Emperor's physical body. The Heavenly Emperor's physical body shook violently, but he successfully blocked the other party's attack. Lu Ming withstood the attack and grabbed the spear, keeping it in his small world. Hand over the Heavenly Tao weapon. The peak great emperor was enraged as he unleashed a storm of attacks. Don't think that I'm afraid of you. Lu Ming shouted coldly. He ignored his defense and charged forward. When the other party's attack landed on Lu Ming's body, it only made Lu Ming shake a little. Lu Ming did not stop there as he charged forward and slashed out with his sword. The other party was shocked and quickly retreated. However, he was still a step too late. He was swept by Lu Ming's sword and a deep wound appeared on his body. He was almost cut in half. Kill. Lu Ming shouted coldly and took the opportunity to attack. The Heavenly Emperor's physical body's energy was 100%. His combat strength was not weaker than a peak great emperor. However, the Heavenly Emperor's physical body's defense was amazing. Lu Ming could completely ignore his defense. In this way, he could completely crush a peak great emperor in a head-on battle. The other party was injured and his combat strength was weakened. He was not Lu Ming's opponent. After a few moves, he was sent flying by Lu Ming. Half of his body was chopped off. The other party was shocked and did not dare to fight with Lu Ming. He quickly retreated. Die. At this moment, a figure suddenly appeared behind the other party. A palm covered with runes struck towards the other party. Ah! The other party roared. He did not expect a sneak attack from behind. He wanted to dodge, but it was too late. Bang! The other party was directly hit. His body was torn into pieces and he died on the spot. A peak great emperor was killed just like that. The one who killed him was naturally Dandan. Dandan had already seized a heavenly Dao weapon. And that person just happened to retreat to Dandan's side. Dandan directly attacked the other party. Dandan, let's join forces. Lu Ming flew over. Alright, there's one over there. Dandan shouted and flew towards a heavenly Dao weapon. Lu Ming followed closely behind. Over there, a few people were fighting fiercely. The two of them rushed over and directly attacked a peak great emperor. This peak great emperor was from the evil god tribe. Boom! Dandan struck out with his palm. Endless runes spread out. In his palm, there seemed to be a small world that suppressed the other party. The other party was shocked and hurriedly counterattacked. However, Lu Ming also rushed over. He fought without any regard for his life. He completely ignored defense and slashed out with his sword. Surrounded by the two of them, the other party was instantly defeated. He was slashed into two by Lu Ming's sword. The other party was not dead yet. He retreated in horror. The two of them did not chase. They kept the heavenly Dao weapon and then rushed towards another heavenly Dao weapon. The two of them joined forces and were invincible. The next heavenly Dao weapon was also obtained. In this way, the two of them each obtained two heavenly Dao weapons. The two of them joining forces also attracted the attention of the others. Some who had a good relationship with them also started to join forces, especially some peak great emperors. The 19 heavenly Dao weapons were fewer and fewer. They were all snatched away. That guy obtained two heavenly Dao weapons. Dandan's gaze turned to a purple-haired middle-aged man. That person was the royal evil god tribe from before. This person's combat strength was shocking. He was stronger than ordinary peak great emperors. Kill. Lu Ming was very direct. He rushed towards the royal evil god tribe. The energy in the heavenly emperor's body was limited. He had to end the battle quickly. Dandan's figure flashed and also charged towards this person. Chapter 2378. Bastard of the evil god tribe, come and fight me. Dandan shouted. He opened his mouth and spat out a long river. It was like a heavenly river and also like a battle sword. Boom! The royal member of the evil god tribe emitted a dazzling purple light. A battle sword appeared in his hand. The weapons that the evil god tribe usually used were battle axes, giant hammers, spiked maces, iron rods, and other heavy weapons. Very few of them used swords. Clang! The sword whistled continuously. The royal member of the evil god tribe slashed out two swords at the same time. Two purple sword lights slashed toward Lu Ming and Dandan respectively. A purple sword light collided with the long river that Dandan spat out. There was a loud explosion and the two of them disappeared. However, Dandan had already closed in on the royal member of the evil god tribe and struck out with his palm. As for Lu Ming, he didn't take the other party's sword light head-on. Clashing head-on would consume a lot of energy. Lu Ming wanted to conserve as much energy as possible. Lu Ming's figure flashed and dodged the sword light. Then, he charged toward the royal member of the evil god tribe. At this moment, Dandan and the royal member of the evil god tribe had already clashed for the second time. Boom! This time, it was a real head-on collision. Both of them trembled and retreated continuously. However, the royal member of the evil god tribe retreated more. He was at a disadvantage. The royal member of the evil god tribe was shocked. The royal member of the evil god tribe was very strong to begin with. In a battle of the same level, his strength far surpassed other members of the evil god tribe. However, Dandan was clearly only a 6-star Great Emperor. He hadn't reached the peak of the Great Emperor realm yet. Yet, his battle strength was stronger than his. This shocked him. Die, bastard. Dandan charged toward the royal member of the evil god tribe again. His killing intent was incomparably cold. Dandan hated the evil god tribe to the core. In the ancient era, he was severely injured by the evil god tribe and barely turned into an egg. After meeting Lu Ming, he was reborn. Therefore, he had to kill the members of the evil god tribe whenever he saw them. This time, Lu Ming had arrived as well. When the two of them joined forces, the royal evil god tribe was no match for them. Although he tried his best, he was still severely injured and retreated frantically. Come and help me. The royal member of the evil god race roared. The royal clan had an extremely high status in the evil god race. Even in such a situation, everyone wanted to snatch the heavenly Tao soldier. However, there was still a peak Great Emperor who charged towards Lu Ming and the others. No one can save you. Dandan roared and launched a barrage of attacks. Lu Ming also launched a frenzied attack. Puff! The royal member of the evil god tribe barely managed to block a few moves, but he was ultimately no match for Lu Ming. One of his arms was chopped off with a single sword strike. The other party's storage bracelet was on this arm. Lu Ming used his power of the realm to collect the arm. Bastard, damn it. The royal member of the evil god race roared in rage. All his treasures were in his interspatial bracelet, including the 2 heavenly Tao weapons. No, 3 of them. He had even borrowed one from the heavenly emperor realm powerhouse of the evil god race, which he had used to kill that azure dragon previously. His eyes were red, and his heart was bleeding. Unfortunately, he didn't dare to stay and could only retreat frantically. At this time, the 19 heavenly Tao weapons were all snatched away. Lu Ming and Dandan had the greatest gains, obtaining a total of 6 heavenly Tao weapons. At the scene, there were more than 20 corpses. Among them, there were a few peak great emperors who had fallen here. The remaining people's eyes flickered. Some of them stared at Lu Ming. Because Lu Ming and Dandan had indeed obtained shocking gains just now. However, there were even more people who stared at the formation spirit. Their eyes flickered with intense greed. How many treasures were in the bag in the formation spirit's hand? A 4-armed evil god race member's eyes were filled with greed. He had already been blinded by greed. He took the initiative to attack, pouncing towards the formation spirit. Hand over that bag. The 4-armed evil god race member was also a peak great emperor. His speed was extremely fast. At the same time, the 4 weapons in his 4 arms slashed towards the formation spirit. You actually want to attack me? Interesting. Then I shall send you on your way. The formation spirit muttered. Then, it opened its small mouth and spat out. It was as though a stream of chi was spat out from the mouth of the formation spirit. After that, a shocking scene occurred. That 4-armed evil god race member screamed miserably as his body directly exploded, transforming into ashes that dissipated in the air. Nothing was left behind. Everyone was shocked. It was like a bucket of cold water had been poured on them, extinguishing the fire of their greed. A single breath blew a peak great emperor to death. What kind of strength was this? He is really courting death. This is the formation spirit produced by a great formation set up by a supreme expert. It can borrow the power of the great formation here. Even a heavenly emperor would die, let alone him. Dandan transmitted his voice to Lu Ming, gloating. The others' faces turned ugly. They no longer dared to have any ideas about the formation spirit. I have one last treasure now. I will give it to you too. The formation spirit spoke again. Then, the bag was tipped over and a ball of light flew out. This time, there was only one ball of light. It was extremely dazzling. It was 10 times more dazzling than the previous heavenly Tao weapons. It was a badge in the middle of the light. It looked very simple and ancient. However, it did not emit any aura. It looked very ordinary. However, everyone's eyes were blazing. The formation spirit was the last to take out the badge. The light on the badge was 10 times more dazzling than the heavenly Tao weapons. According to their previous judgment, the more precious the treasure was, the more dazzling the light on it would be. Although they could not tell what was so special about the badge, it was definitely extremely precious. At that instant, everyone moved and charged toward the badge. Bang! Bang! A terrifying battle immediately broke out. The secret chamber shook violently. Bang! Bang! A few 6-star great emperors were torn apart and died on the spot. The remaining 6-star great emperors were terrified. They immediately backed away, not daring to interfere. With so many people fighting for the badge, the battle was too intense. All the peak great emperors were attacking wildly. If a 6-star great emperor was dragged into the battle, he would definitely die. This time, Lu Ming and Dandan did not make a move. They were preserving their strength. Needless to say, if they made a move now, they would definitely face a fierce battle. Although Lu Ming and Dandan were strong, if they made a move now, they would definitely face the attacks of the other peak great emperors. The best strategy was to wait and see. Of course, it was not easy to do so in the face of such a treasure. It might be 10 times more precious than a heavenly Tao weapon. Who could remain calm? Even the heavenly emperors would go crazy. However, Dandan was an old monster who had lived for God knows how long. He had a strong temperament. He managed to hold it in. As for Lu Ming, he was no ordinary person. He had experienced a lot along the way. His temperament was stronger than many old monsters who had lived for countless years. At this moment, he also managed to hold it in. At the same time, he took out a large number of energy crystals to replenish the energy of the Heavenly Emperor's body. In the previous battle, the Heavenly Emperor's body had lost a lot of energy. It was time to replenish it. Chapter 2379. At the scene, the fight for that token was incomparably intense. Evil God Tribe and Heaven Realm's peak great emperors added together were close to 30. Close to 30 peak great emperors were fighting crazily. At this moment, there was no race, no division. There was only personal greed. The others were all competitors. In such a tragic battle, casualties appeared in a short while. A slightly weaker peak great emperor was torn apart by the other 2 peak great emperors. There was also a very powerful peak great emperor who rushed out of the encirclement and rushed towards his token. When he was about to get close to the token, he was beaten to ashes by everyone. Peak great emperors fell one after another. Those who did not fall also suffered varying degrees of injuries. Tragic, incomparably tragic. These were peak great emperors. If a heavenly emperor did not appear, who could compete with them? No matter where they were placed, they would be a powerhouse with a chance of becoming a heavenly emperor. But now, they were worthless. Some were killed by the enemy, some died in the hands of their own powerhouses. The more they killed, the crazier everyone became. They were already bloodshot. Swoosh! Finally, someone rushed to the side of the token and grabbed it in his hand. This was a true dragon. Its entire body was golden. It was an exceptionally powerful golden true dragon. Its strength was shocking. When he grabbed the token in his hand, he roared and tried his best to break out of the encirclement, wanting to rush out. However, immediately, a few extremely powerful experts rushed over. All kinds of attacks continuously drowned out the golden true dragon. Although the golden true dragon was strong and had astonishing defensive power, he could not withstand it. Wounds appeared on his body, almost tearing his body apart. His eyes revealed a look of fear as he threw the token out. The scene fell into a chaotic battle again. Lu Ming, hurry up and recover. I'll make some arrangements first. Dandan transmitted his voice to Lu Ming. Then, his figure flashed quickly. Runes appeared from Dandan's hand and disappeared into the void. Lu Ming knew that Dandan was setting up a formation. Dandan's control of runes had reached an unimaginable level. As long as he was given some time, he would definitely be able to set up a terrifying formation. Lu Ming kept taking out energy crystals and supreme-grade origin stones to speed up the celestial Thearka's energy storage. Bang! Bang! Large amounts of energy crystals and peak-grade origin stones that he had obtained from the evil god race exploded, turning into seething energy that was absorbed by the Heaven Emperor's body. Of course, there was also a portion that was wasted and dissipated into void space. However, Lu Ming didn't mind at all. Normally, Lu Ming would not use such a barbaric method to allow the Celestial Emperor's body to store energy, because it would be too wasteful. A portion of the energy would dissipate if it could not be absorbed. But now, he could not care less. In the air, the array spirit glanced at Dandan with a smile on his face. He seemed to have noticed something, but he did not say anything. At the scene, the fight for the tokens had entered a white-hot stage, and the fighting was exceptionally fierce. Peak-grade emperors were killed one after another. In the beginning, there were close to 30 peak-grade emperors. Now, there were only 20 left. The remaining 20 or so peak-grade emperors were all injured. Whoosh! At this moment, Dandan appeared beside Lu Ming and said, "How is it? Can you make a move?" "Yes," Lu Ming said. "Alright, let's make a move together and obtain the token as fast as we can." Dandan nodded. Almost at the same time, the two of them moved. The two of them charged out at the same time. Endless world! Dandan roared. He revealed his original body, which was covered in runes. Then, he opened his mouth and spat out a world. It was really a world. However, this wasn't a small world that Dandan had condensed. It was a kind of divine ability. This kind of divine ability was extremely powerful. It was as though a world was suppressing the enemy. Boom! One of the peak-grade emperors in front of Dandan was already injured. In addition to Dandan's sudden attack, he could not react in time and was killed by Dandan. There were also two other peak-grade emperors who were sent flying by Dandan. Whoosh! Lu Ming seized the opportunity and charged forward, waving his hand to grab the token. He and Dandan cooperated seamlessly. Lu Ming grabbed the token in his hand. Courting death. Let go of the token. Kill. Instantly, the other peak-grade emperors roared and launched terrifying attacks at Lu Ming. Boom! 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 Lu Ming was instantly engulfed by various attacks. The Heavenly Emperor body shook violently and was sent flying. He flew for thousands of miles and crashed into the wall of the secret chamber. However, Lu Ming was fine. The Heavenly Emperor body blocked the attacks of the others. If it were any other peak-grade emperor, they would definitely die after being hit by so many attacks and their souls would scatter. However, Lu Ming used the Heavenly Emperor body to block the attacks and successfully kept the token in his small world. Still not dead. Kill him. The rest of the people were also shocked. They then charged toward Lu Ming in a frenzy. Lu Ming, come over and enter the formation. Dandan's voice rang in Lu Ming's ears. At the same time, Dandan waved his hands rapidly. Rays of sword light appeared in the void and attacked the peak-grade emperors. Half of the peak-grade emperors were blocked by the formation controlled by Dandan. The rest continued to charge towards Lu Ming. Bam! Lu Ming stomped his feet on the wall and charged towards Dandan like a cannonball. Swoosh! 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 Attacks blasted towards Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming ignored them and allowed the attacks to hit his body. No one below the Heavenly Emperor could break the defense of the Heavenly Emperor body. Lu Ming charged past them and approached Dandan rapidly. Kill! A purple-haired middle-aged man appeared in front of Lu Ming and slashed his sword towards Lu Ming. It was the royal member of the evil god tribe. One of his arms was cut off by Lu Ming and his storage bracelet was snatched away. He had been thinking about taking it back. At this moment, his arm had grown back. He seized the opportunity and charged towards Lu Ming. "Get lost!" Lu Ming shouted and slashed out. Clang! The two swords clashed and a violent explosion erupted. Lu Ming's figure was blocked and stopped. However, Lu Ming took another step and charged towards the royal member of the evil god tribe. It wasn't just the battle sword. His entire body was charging towards the other party. He didn't use any moves or skills at all. It was just a barbaric charge. Swoosh! Swoosh! The royal member of the evil god tribe stabbed out hundreds of times. The hundreds of sword lights were incomparably sharp. However, Lu Ming didn't seem to see them and charged forward. Those sword lights could only leave some shallow marks on Lu Ming's body. Bam! Lu Ming crashed into the royal member of the evil god tribe with his sword. The royal member of the evil god tribe grunted and was sent flying. As for Lu Ming, he charged past and successfully arrived near Dandan. Formation, rise! He shouted boldly and waved his hands. Countless runes appeared and pieces of turtle shells appeared out of nowhere, enveloping Lu Ming and the royal member of the evil god tribe. Chapter 2380. Dandan controlled the array. Countless runes appeared and formed pieces of turtle shells. Like shields, they surrounded Lu Ming and Dandan in the middle. Boom! 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 Just as the turtle shells rose, the attacks from all directions arrived. Every attack was launched by a peak great emperor and was shockingly powerful. However, when they hit the turtle shells, they were blocked by the turtle shells. None of the attacks could break the turtle shells. Ha ha ha, you want to break the array that I set up? Although the time is short, it's still possible to set up an array to defend against you. Dandan laughed proudly. Damn it, watch me break your turtle shells. Break! The remaining peak great emperors shouted one after another. All of them unleashed their ultimate moves and attacked Dandan and Lu Ming. However, there were many turtle shells and they blocked all the gaps. When all the attacks landed on the turtle shells only shook but couldn't break them. Everyone, attack 1 point. Someone shouted and wanted to focus everyone's attacks on 1 point to break the turtle shells. Swoosh! Swoosh! Suddenly, everyone's attacks were focused on one piece of turtle shell. Sure enough, this move worked. The tortoise shell shook violently, and then cracks appeared on its surface. Those people were overjoyed, but Dandan's face was very calm. There was even a hint of mockery. Boom! That tortoise shell was shattered and exploded. However, in the next moment, a new tortoise shell immediately condensed and took its place. Those people were stunned. Then, they were furious and attacked again. But it was useless. Every time they broke a piece of the turtle shell, a new one would float out of it. Dandan smiled faintly. His leisurely expression almost made those people vomit blood. After attacking for a while, there was no effect at all. Those people had no choice but to stop. What's the use of hiding in the turtle shells? We'll wait here. He'll come out sooner or later. Once he comes out, we'll tear them to pieces. The royal member of the evil god tribe said coldly. The others also revealed cold eyes. Have you forgotten what I said before? At this moment, the array genie in the air spoke. Her clear voice rang in everyone's ears. I've given you the items. Once you've received them, I'll send you out. I'll give you half an hour. After half an hour, I'll send all of you out at the same time. Half an hour, damn it. The other people's expressions greatly changed. Then, they started to attack one after another, attacking Dandan and Lu Ming. They had to break through the Dandan's formation in half an hour. However, everything was futile. It was completely useless. There were even people who bombarded the void, smashing it into pieces in an attempt to destroy the foundation of the formation. However, this kind of formation that imprinted the runes in the void could not be broken at all. Unless one's strength was so strong that it could directly annihilate all the particles in the void, it would be possible to break the void. Time passed quickly, and soon, half an hour had passed. "All right, time's up. All of you can leave now." At this moment, the array genie spoke. After speaking, her body emitted a bright light. An incomparably powerful force acted on Lu Ming and the others. Boom! Their bodies were repelled by an incomparably powerful force. In an instant, they flew out of the statue and out of the void's sacred island. At this moment, an incomparably terrifying and supreme force erupted from the statue and spread in all directions. Everyone on the void's sacred island was pushed out of the void's sacred island by this wave of power. However, the strange thing was that the demonic beasts and mutated beasts that originally lived on the void's sacred island were not affected at all. Lu Ming was in the air, completely out of his control. It was as if he was in the sea, being pushed by a huge wave and flying backward at an extremely fast speed. At the same time, he saw that in other directions of the void's sacred island, figures were being pushed in all directions. The scene was extremely spectacular. Not long after, Lu Ming and the others were pushed to the edge of the void's sacred island and stood in the void. Only then did the force disappear. Many figures stood at the edge of the void's sacred island. There were people from the evil god tribe and also people from the heaven realm. Other than Lu Ming and a few others, most people looked at each other, not knowing what had happened. Ah! Suddenly, a miserable cry rang out. Someone had attacked. An evil god tribe member suddenly attacked and tore apart an elite from the heaven realm. This was because at the edge of the void's sacred island, people from the evil god tribe and the heaven realm were mixed together. After being stunned for a short while, someone reacted and attacked. "You're courting death." Immediately, someone from the heaven realm counterattacked. At the edge of the void's sacred island, a chaotic battle broke out. Two 2-star and 3-star great emperors attacked Lu Ming, but they were killed by Lu Ming with a single punch. "Dandan, let's go first." Lu Ming rushed toward Dandan because Dandan had appeared not far from him. Soon, the two of them met up and rushed out of the void, wanting to meet up with Celestial the Archangel. "Stay here." With a loud roar, an evil god tribe member charged toward Lu Ming and Dandan with blazing eyes. This evil god tribe member was a peak great emperor. Previously, there were close to 20 peak great emperors left in the statues. However, they were scattered in all directions by that force. There was only one peak great emperor here. "You want to keep me here alone? Die." Dandan's eyes flashed with malevolence as he charged toward this peak great emperor. As for Lu Ming, he had already kept the celestial Thearcha's body. Without the celestial Thearcha's body, he was naturally not a match for a peak great emperor. Hence, he did not attack. Boom! Boom! Dandan's battle prowess was extremely strong. After a few moves, the peak great emperor was beaten until he vomited blood. The other party was shocked and kept retreating, not daring to fight with Lu Ming. Lu Ming and Dandan met up and rushed out. "Let's go. Now is not the time for a decisive battle." On the side of the heaven world, someone shouted and then flew out. The people of the evil god tribe did not dare to chase after them. This was because the people of the heaven world were flying in the direction of the heaven world celestial Thearchs. If they chased after them, only death would await them. The people of the evil god tribe changed direction and flew in another direction. Slowly, the battle at the edge of the void's sacred island stopped. Everyone chose a direction and left the void's sacred island. Lu Ming and Dandan flew at extreme speed. The void's sacred island was getting further and further away from them. It was also getting smaller and smaller. Finally, they saw the figures in front of them. They were the celestial Thearchs of the heaven world. There were more than 10 of them. Among them, Lu Ming saw Celestial the Archangel. These celestial thearchs were looking at the void sacred island anxiously. Clearly, they had also sensed the changes on the void sacred island. Celestial the Archangyu's eyes lit up when he saw Lu Ming and flew over. Lu Ming, what happened on the void sacred island? Celestial the Archangyu asked. The other celestial thearchs also looked over curiously. Chapter 2381. Senior Hangyu, this matter is complicated. Let's go back first. Lu Ming said. Alright, I'll bring you back. Heavenly Emperor Hangyu nodded. He waved his hand and brought Lu Ming and Dandan back to the passage they came from. There was also a Heavenly Emperor guarding the passage. Heavenly Emperor Hangyu brought Lu Ming and Dandan into the passage and returned to the Grand Clear Sky domain. Lu Ming, wait for me here. I still have to bring the others back. Heavenly Emperor Hangyu said. There were many great emperors who entered the void sacred island, but the number of heavenly emperors was limited. Naturally, each heavenly emperor had to make several trips. Senior Hangyu, how about this? We'll return to the two-world city and wait for you. How about that? Lu Ming said. Alright, you guys return to the two-world city first. Heavenly Emperor Hangyu nodded and turned to enter the passage. As for Lu Ming and Dandan, they flew back to the two-world city. Back when Heavenly Emperor Hangyu had brought them from Two Realms City, it had only taken them an hour. However, their speed was naturally not as fast as Heavenly Emperor Hangyu's. The two of them had flown at full speed, yet it had taken them 2 days to reach Two Realms City. In the two-world city, Lu Ming lived in the courtyard. Lu Ming and Dandan began to divide the treasures they obtained. What they divided up was mainly the Heavenly Dao armament and the title plate. The two of them took out all the Heaven Dao soldiers. The two of them worked together to snatch 6 Heaven Dao soldiers. There was one more that was brought in by the Royal Evil God tribe. There were a total of 7 Heaven Dao soldiers. The 7 Heaven Dao soldiers emitted a terrifying aura. Dandan was so frightened that he quickly set up a formation to conceal the aura. There was also the token. Dandan, what do you choose? Lu Ming looked at Dandan. Dandan's eyes were burning with passion as he looked at the Heaven Dao soldiers and the token. He wanted to take them for himself. I'll study this token first. Dandan held the token in his hand and carefully studied it. However, Dandan used all kinds of methods, but to no avail. How could this be? Dandan was puzzled. Let me see. Lu Ming took the token and studied it carefully. However, he discovered that there was nothing special about this token other than its special material and its indestructible durability. A very ordinary command medallion. Is it really more important than a Heavenly Dao weapon? Lu Ming was puzzled. Dandan was also scratching her head. She was also confused. Dandan, how about this? 7 Heavenly Dao soldiers, 3 for each person, 4 for each person. But the 3 Heavenly Dao soldiers, plus this command medallion, what do you think? Lu Ming looked at Dandan. All right. Dandan nodded, but his eyes darted around, obviously hesitating on what to choose. How about this? I'll take 3 Heavenly Dao soldiers and this token. Lu Ming was the first to speak. You'll choose this token? Kid, you really know how to choose. Dandan gritted his teeth. Dandan, this token might not be useful at all. You've studied it before. I took it purely out of curiosity. How precious is a Heavenly Dao soldier? I'll let you take one more. You'll benefit greatly. Lu Ming said. Go away, you're trying to fool a 3-year-old kid. This token is extremely mysterious. It's the last one taken out by the formation spirit. It might contain the secrets of Heavenly Dao. Don't think that I don't know that you want to keep it for yourself. Dandan gritted his teeth and stared at the token, unwilling to look away. Dandan, how about this? I always feel that I'm fated with this token. I'll take it first. If I discover any secrets in the future, I'll definitely bring you along. How about that? Lu Ming said. He was indeed reluctant to give this token to Dandan. To be honest, he really had a feeling that this token might be of great use in the future. It was a kind of intuition. Dandan gritted his teeth. Obviously, he was still reluctant. In the end, he gritted his teeth and said, "Kid, if you discover any secrets in the future, you must tell me. Otherwise, I won't let you off." After that, Dandan began to choose from the 7 heavenly Tao soldiers. "Dandan, this long spear suits me better. You can choose the rest." Lu Ming kept one of the long spears. Dandan did not mind. A heavenly Tao soldier in the form of a long spear was not of much use to him. In the end, Dandan chose 4 heavenly Tao soldiers and kept them. He left 2 for Lu Ming. As for the remaining 2 items, one was a battle sword and the other was a meteor hammer. Lu Ming kept all of them and was satisfied. This time, he had obtained 3 heavenly Tao soldiers. This was a huge gain. "Lu Ming, I'll be cultivating in 2 World City for this period of time. If you discover anything, remember to look for me." After Dandan put away the things, his figure flashed and left this place. Lu Ming smiled, then took out 2 storage rings and started checking. These 2 storage rings were obtained from that formation spirit. Lu Ming was very curious about what was inside. Lu Ming's spiritual sense swept over and his eyes immediately lit up. The things inside the storage rings were very messy. There was everything. Raw stones, all kinds of refining materials, medicinal pills, and so on. Chaos stones. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. In one of the storage rings, he discovered chaos stones. This time, the number was also shockingly many, a full 10,000 pieces. This was an astonishing gain. Also, great Tao fragments. Following that, Lu Ming discovered great Tao fragments again. They were locked in a box, more than 100 pieces. Even if Lu Ming was mentally prepared, he was also overjoyed. If this wealth was taken out, it would make people go crazy. "I'm rich, I'm really rich." Lu Ming's current wealth was already more than many heavenly emperors. 3 heavenly Tao soldiers was no joke. One had to know that most heavenly emperors did not have any heavenly Tao soldiers. This trip to the Void Sacred Island is really fruitful. Lu Ming sighed. This time, after cultivating on Void Sacred Island for 7 to 8 years, Lu Ming's progress in all aspects was very great. Of the 10 supreme laws, Lu Ming had already cultivated 8 to the 3rd realm. The other 3 supreme laws had also been cultivated to the 3rd realm. Moreover, Lu Ming had also cultivated the 7 gods' mysterious art to the middle of the 5th level, and his strength had increased comprehensively. It's a pity. If I had cultivated for a while more, I might have been able to successfully cultivate the remaining 2 supreme laws. Lu Ming sighed. Of the 10 supreme laws, the karma law was only at the entry level, and the destiny law was not yet at the entry level. The speed of comprehending laws in Void Sacred Island was dozens of times faster than outside. Lu Ming was really tempted. It was a pity that he would not be able to enter in the future. It's already very rare for me to have such a great gain. I can't be too greedy. Lu Ming smiled, then put away the items and sat down cross-legged. His soul entered the small world and began to comprehend the karma law. In the blink of an eye, half a month had passed. On this day, Eternal Universe Great Emperor arrived. Obviously, all the heavenly emperors who had entered Void Sacred Island had been brought out. Immediately, Lu Ming told Eternal Universe Great Emperor what had happened in Void Sacred Island. Chapter 2382. Heavenly Emperor Hang Yu knew what happened in the Void Divine Island and also sighed endlessly. "Senior Hang Yu, this weapon is for you." Lu Ming's hand moved, and a battle sword appeared in his hand. It was precisely one of the 3 heavenly Tao weapons. This is a heavenly Tao weapon. The moment Heavenly Emperor Hang Yu saw this battle sword, his eyes suddenly lit up. Precisely. Lu Ming smiled. Lu Ming, this heavenly Tao weapon is too precious. If you take it out to sell, the price will be immeasurable. I can't accept it. Although Heavenly Emperor Heng Yu was extremely moved, he still shook his head. This was what Lu Ming obtained by risking his life. How could he accept it? Senior Heng Yu, accept it. I had a great harvest this time. I also have a heavenly Tao weapon for my own use. This battle sword, I have no use for it either. Lu Ming said. Indeed, his harvest this time was great. All kinds of resources, there was everything he could desire. There was no need to sell a heavenly Tao weapon at all. He did not lack resources. Throughout his journey, the Hangyu celestial arch had been of great help to him, especially the celestial Thearch's physical body. He had helped Lu Ming avert danger many times. It was only right to give a heavenly Tao soldier to the Hangyu celestial arch. Seeing Lu Ming's firm attitude, Heavenly Emperor Heng Yu hesitated for a bit and put it away. Lu Ming, whatever you need, feel free to say. If I can do it, I'll definitely do it for you. Heavenly Emperor Heng Yu said. Senior Heng Yu is too serious. Lu Ming hurriedly said. Heavenly Emperor Heng Yu carefully sized up the battle sword in his hand. The more he looked, the more he liked it. His face revealed a smile. His cultivation was at the 3-star Heavenly Emperor realm. With this heavenly Tao weapon, his combat power would skyrocket. Even if he encountered a 4-star Heavenly Emperor peerless powerhouse, as long as the other party did not have a heavenly Tao weapon, he could contend. In fact, he could even borrow the heavenly Tao contained in the heavenly Tao weapon to let his cultivation take a step further, breaking through the bottleneck, breaking through to 4-star Heavenly Emperor, becoming a peerless powerhouse, a heavenly realm Empyrean level figure. This heavenly Tao weapon was too useful to him. Only after a while did Heavenly Emperor Heng Yu put away the heavenly Tao weapon. Then, he chatted with Lu Ming for a while and left. He needed to refine the heavenly Tao soldier as soon as possible so that he could unleash its power. After Heavenly the Arch Heng Yu left, Lu Ming made another trip to the Primal Chaos Hall and gave the remaining Heaven Tao weapon, the Meteor Hammer, to 2E. 2E was naturally overjoyed when he obtained the Heavenly Tao weapon. Actually, the Primal Chaos Palace also had Heavenly Tao soldiers left behind. However, there were only 2 of them and they were not suitable for 2E to use. One was in the hands of Gold One and the other was in the hands of Thunder One. The others had long been envious. Now that Earth One got one, he was naturally overjoyed. He was very grateful to Lu Ming. Lu Ming smiled. 2E and the others were completely under his command. The stronger they were, the better it would be for him. After Lu Ming returned to his residence, he entered the mountain and river diagram with a thought. Then, a spear appeared in his hand. This spear was the heavenly Tao weapon. Boom! Boom! Lu Ming erupted with all of his power. The power of his physical body, the power of the world, and the power of laws all erupted. The spear emitted a resplendent radiance as it swept out. The void instantly collapsed and shattered. Endless spatial storms howled. It was simply apocalyptic. Awesome, too awesome. After continuously brandishing it a few times, Lu Ming stopped. With his current cultivation, it was naturally impossible for him to unleash the power of the heavenly Tao soldier. It was also impossible for him to stimulate the power of the heavenly Tao inside. However, the material of the heavenly Tao soldier was sturdy and indestructible. Once it was activated, it was heavier than a mountain. Lu Ming could completely unleash all of his power without any restraint. Previously, Lu Ming condensed the Infinity Dragon Spear with laws and could not fully unleash Lu Ming's power. At the very least, he could not fully unleash the power of his physical body. Once there was a collision that was too strong, the Infinity Dragon Spear would collapse. Therefore, Lu Ming would simply use his fists to fight most of the time. That way, he could unleash his strength more. But now, with this long spear, Lu Ming could unleash all of his power to his heart's content. Moreover, The long spear had more or less increased Lu Ming's combat strength by a few notches. On the handle of the long spear, there were 3 words: Great Spear of Desolation. Great Spear of Desolation, accompany me in conquering the world. Lu Ming revealed a smile and then put away the Great Spear of Desolation. After a while, I'll return to the Yuan realm to take a look. Lu Ming pondered. It had been many years since he entered the Heaven Realm through the passageway of the Divine Wilderness Continent's 9-Dragon City. Now that his strength had improved rapidly, it was time to go back and take a look. Also, there were some debts that needed to be settled. For example, the Heng family, He family, and the Daluo Heaven sect in the Celestial City. The Mu family in the Divine Land. These people wanted to kill him in the past. It was time to settle the score. However, before Lu Ming returned, he planned to find Bubbles, Long Chen, Huang Ling, and the others. He now had too many resources in his hands and planned to give them some. This way, their cultivation speed would also increase. Lu Ming found a few acquaintances and asked them about Bubbles and the others. As he asked, he waited. At this moment, in a hall of the Lan family, the upper echelons of the Lan family and the Yen family were discussing matters. Lu Ming, you've gone too far. Lan Sheng, the heavenly emperor of the Lan family, let out a roar filled with endless killing intent. The other members of the Lan family were the same. However, while they were emitting killing intent, their eyes were also filled with fear. This was because they had already heard about the news of some great emperors of the Lan family being killed by Lu Ming in the Void Sacred Island. After all, there were many people who were still alive in the Heaven Realm. When those people came out, they passed the news to the Lan family. When the upper echelons of the Lan family heard this news, they were shocked. They immediately gathered the upper echelons and the heavenly emperor of the Yen family to discuss matters. Family head, what should we do now? Someone asked Lan Sheng. Kill, we must kill him. We can't let Lu Ming grow. Otherwise, we'll all die. Lan Sheng said coldly. Fool. At this moment, an aged voice rang out, causing everyone's expression to change. In the next moment, a white-haired old man in coarse hemp clothes appeared in the hall. Everyone from the Lan family quickly stood up and bowed. Greetings, old ancestor. The heavenly emperor of the Yen family also stood up and bowed. Greetings, Lord Heavenly Sovereign. Those above the 4-star heavenly emperor were known as heavenly sovereigns. The old ancestor of the Lan family swept his gaze across the crowd and finally landed on Lan Sheng. Now, you still want to kill Lu Ming? Old ancestor, Lu Ming has killed so many great emperors of the Lan family. How can we not kill him? If we let him continue like this, the Lan family will be in danger. Lan Sheng said. Oh, then tell me, how should we kill him? The old ancestor of the Lan family said. How? Lan Sheng was stunned. With Lu Ming's current strength, do you have the confidence to send great emperors? If great emperors are not confident, do you and I have to do it ourselves? If you and I do it, what if someone finds out? Won't the heavenly emperor behind Lu Ming go crazy? Also, now that everyone in the Heaven Realm knows that Lu Ming has a feud with the Lan family, if Lu Ming is secretly killed, won't others suspect that we did it? I'm afraid that the heavenly emperors behind him will also come directly to the Lan family. The old ancestor of the Lan family said coldly. Chapter 2384. It's been so many years since we last met. Your cultivation has improved quite quickly. Lu Ming patted Bubbles' head. After not seeing it for so many years, Lu Ming discovered that Bubbles' cultivation was about to reach the peak of the true Emperor realm. Among the younger generation of the Heaven realm, there were probably not many who could match it. This cultivation speed was already very terrifying. Of course, it was still incomparable to Dandan. After all, Dandan was the world turtle from ancient times. Although Bubble was one of the top 10 war beasts, it was a newborn. Everything had to be comprehended by itself. I can't compare to brother Lu Ming. Bubble hung on Lu Ming's neck and swayed back and forth. The Lan family and the Yen family are here. At this moment, a voice was heard. Many people looked in one direction. Over there, a group of people flew over. The leader was the Lan family's ancestor, a peerless expert. Behind the Lan family's ancestor was the Lan family's patriarch, Lan Sheng, and the Yen family's heavenly emperor. Behind them were some of the upper echelons of the two families. Almost all of the upper echelons of the Lan family and the Yen family had arrived. They landed on the square and walked towards Lu Ming. The Lan family's ancestor's face was full of smiles. He cupped his fists towards Lu Ming and said, "We're late. Please forgive us, little brother Lu Ming." "You're welcome," Lu Ming said with a faint smile on his face. "This old man won't talk too much. Today, I'm here to apologize to little brother Lu Ming. All these years, the Lan family has gone too far in some aspects and offended little brother Lu Ming. Please forgive us, little brother Lu Ming." The Lan family's ancestor cupped his fists. Even though they knew that the Lan family was going to apologize, many people were still stunned when they saw the Lan family's ancestor talking to Lu Ming in an amiable manner. They felt like they were in a dream. One had to know that the Lan family's ancestor was a peerless expert, a 4-star heavenly emperor. This kind of character was already standing at the peak of the world with shocking battle prowess. But now, he was humbly apologizing to a junior. This was rare even since ancient times. However, Lu Ming did not want to accept the other party's apology so easily. "Oh, I would like to know, in what way did you offend me? Lan family head, why don't you help me remember?" Lu Ming sneered and looked at Lan City. Lan Cheng's face turned ugly. However, he still tried his best to squeeze out a smile. He stepped forward and said, "The Lan clan has indeed offended little brother Lu Ming in some ways in the past. Please forgive us." "Forgive?" You said it so casually. Let me ask you, what did you do to offend me? Tell me clearly. Can't you understand?" Lu Ming said coldly. Lan Cheng's anger soared to the sky. If any other junior dared to speak to him in such a manner, he would have slapped them to death. But he didn't dare to do that to Lu Ming. He dared to bet that there were likely quite a few heavenly emperor characters in the vicinity. The moment he made a move, the one who would be smacked to death would be him. In the end, he could only suppress his anger and answer honestly. "Back then, it was my Lan clan's heaven's pride, Blue Cloud, who offended little brother Lu Ming." He repeatedly targeted little brother Lu Ming, resulting in a grudge between both sides. Lan Sheng answered honestly. "What else?" Lu Ming asked. Also, back then, I was blinded by greed and coveted your indestructible ancient scripture. In the battlefield outside Two World City, I sent people to kill you." Lan Sheng clenched his teeth and spoke about this matter. He knew that the reason Lu Ming asked them to apologize in public was to make everything public. If he did not say it today, Lu Ming would definitely not let it go. As soon as these words came out, the crowd was in an uproar. Back then, the Lan clan said that Lu Ming killed Heavenly World's experts in the True Emperor battlefield to obtain treasures. All of this was a false accusation. Everything was because Lan Sheng and the Yen clan's Heavenly Emperor coveted Lu Ming's indestructible ancient scripture and wanted to kill Lu Ming. Despicable, really despicable. So this is the face of the Lan clan. Despicable villain, we were all deceived by him. I already knew that Lu Ming would not do such a thing. Many people roared and glared at the Lan clan. Lan Sheng gritted his teeth, but now, such a bitter fruit could only be swallowed by himself. Who asked him to offend a freak like Lu Ming? Lan clan has offended you, please forgive us, little brother Lu Ming. Yen clan has offended you, please forgive us, little brother Lu Ming. Lan Sheng and the Yen clan's heavenly emperor cupped their fists and bowed to Lu Ming. Little brother Lu Ming, this is a little gift from the Lan clan and Yen clan, please accept it. Lan clan's old ancestor smiled and took out a storage ring. With a wave of his hand, the storage ring slowly flew to Lu Ming. Lu Ming reached out and took it. He scanned it with his spiritual consciousness and found that there were exactly 500 chaos stones inside. Remember, I won't offend people if they don't offend me. The past can be written off, but if you offend me again in the future, I will destroy your entire clan. Lu Ming kept the storage ring and turned to leave, no longer looking at the Lan clan and the Yen clan. Huang Ling, Long Chen, brother Ouyang. How about we go for a drink? Today's harvest is not bad. Lu Ming looked at Long Chen, Huang Ling, and the rest. My hair, drink, drink, and drink to your heart's content. Unscrupulous monk was the first to shout. You monk, what are you drinking for? Huang Li despised. Everyone laughed, and the group of young people left amidst the laughter. Lu Ming bought a large amount of wine and came to Lu Ming's residence. Lu Ming took out a lot of divine beast meat. Over the years, Lu Ming had hoarded a lot of divine beast meat, all of which were at least emperor grade. Everyone began to eat, and soon, the place was filled with the fragrance of meat. Everyone ate the meat and drank big bowls of wine, chatting about the interesting things they had encountered over the years. During this time, Lu Ming took out a large amount of resources and distributed them to everyone. For example, supreme grade origin stones, primordial stones, and chaos stones. Everyone began to refuse because they were too precious. But when Lu Ming took out a pile of them, they did not refuse and each of them took some. These resources could indeed greatly increase their cultivation speed. It was not until the evening of the second day that everyone dispersed. It's time to return to the primordial realm. Lu Ming whispered and then found Heavenly Emperor Hang Yu to ask for the way back to the primordial realm. It was relatively easy to go to the primordial realm in the Grand Pure Sky domain because there were many passageways. Two Realms City had such a passageway. Lu Ming came to a valley alone with Heavenly Emperor Hang Yu. Here, there were powerhouses standing guard. In the valley, the space was extremely unstable. Spatial rifts constantly appeared, and one could clearly see that behind the spatial rifts was a void passageway. This passageway was not big, but it was enough to accommodate dozens of people passing through at the same time. Senior Hang Yu, take care. Lu Ming cupped his fists, then took a step out and entered the spatial rift. In a flash, Lu Ming arrived in the void passageway. Lu Ming stepped forward. It was as if he could see the endless void passing by him. No idea how long had passed, light appeared in front. Lu Ming rushed out and discovered that he was standing high in the sky. Below was a boundless land. Chapter 2385. Lu Ming stood in the sky and looked around. Below him were vast mountains. According to what Senior Heng Yu said, this should be the Yuan Mountain land. I don't know where it is. I need to find a place with people and ask. At the thought of this, Lu Ming's figure moved. He broke through the space and shuttled through the void at an extremely fast speed. After a few minutes, Lu Ming saw a city. He went in and asked around. He found out that it was the north of the Yuan Mountain land. Lu Ming found a big force nearby and used their teleportation formation to go to the ancient moon's sacred ground, one of the 9 sacred grounds in the Yuan Mountain land. It did not take long for Lu Ming to return to the ancient moon's sacred ground. When Lu Ming walked out of the teleportation formation outside the ancient moon's sacred ground, it immediately caused an uproar and he was recognized by the people nearby. Lu Ming was too famous in the ancient moon's sacred ground. In the past, Lu Ming joined forces with more than 10 big forces in the ancient moon's sacred ground to destroy the Feng clan, Sky Wolf Tower, Golden Crow clan, Wan clan and other big forces. It caused the ancient moon's sacred ground to be reshuffled and changed the structure of the ancient moon's sacred ground. Lu Ming was known by everyone in the ancient moon's sacred ground. However, Lu Ming disappeared after that. After so many years, Lu Ming's reappearance naturally caused a stir. Not long after, all the forces in the ancient moon's sacred ground knew that Lu Ming had returned. At this time, Lu Ming had arrived at the Great Pill Development Hall and met Uncle Kong. After so many years, Uncle Kong seemed to have aged and his face was filled with wrinkles. Uncle Kong's cultivation was most likely at the 2-star martial monarch realm, but according to him, he had been severely injured in the previous tribulation, which had damaged his foundation. As such, his strength was only slightly stronger than a 1-star martial monarch, but not by much. Otherwise, Great Emperor Tian Luo of the Daluo Heavens sect would not dare to be arrogant in front of Uncle Kong. Now, Uncle Kong was only a few years away from the next heavens tribulation. With his current state, he could not pass it. Palace Master, your cultivation. As soon as Uncle Kong saw Lu Ming, he could feel that Lu Ming was not ordinary. Although Lu Ming's cultivation was only at the peak of the true emperor realm, his qi and blood were extremely dense. He was like an ancient beast, giving off a terrifying aura. Even Uncle Kong could feel the immense pressure coming from it. This caused Uncle Kong to be extremely shocked, but at the same time, he was overjoyed. The stronger Lu Ming was, the happier he would be. Uncle Kong, some time ago, I went to the heaven realm and had a fortuitous encounter. I cultivated the archaic body cultivation, and my physical body is now equivalent to the emperor realm. Lu Ming gave a simple explanation, and Uncle Kong became even more delighted. Uncle Kong, has the Mu clan come looking for trouble all these years? Lu Ming asked. Back then, a great emperor from the Mu clan had died here. He had always been afraid that the Mu clan would come looking for trouble. The Mu clan is here to seek revenge for the Mu clan's emperor, but a powerful force has interfered in the Divine Fate Land. The Mu clan has been wary of the Divine Fate Land for many years, so they haven't done anything yet. Uncle Kong explained. Lu Ming nodded and said, it's fine if the Mu clan doesn't come, but if they don't give up, I'll have to pay them a visit. With that, a storage ring appeared in Lu Ming's hand, and he handed it over to Uncle Kong. Uncle Kong, this is for you. This is, Uncle Kong took the storage ring and scanned it with his spiritual sense, and his eyes widened. Grand Dao Fragment, this is a Grand Dao Fragment. Palace Master, it's a waste to give such a treasure to an old man like me. You should keep it for yourself. Uncle Kong quickly handed the storage ring over to Lu Ming. Lu Ming smiled and said, Uncle Kong, take it. I have a lot of Grand Dao fragments, and it's enough for me to use. Uncle Kong wanted to return the Grand Dao fragment to Lu Ming, but Lu Ming's attitude was firm. In the end, Uncle Kong accepted the Grand Dao fragment. Lu Ming gave Uncle Kong a total of 18 Grand Dao fragments, enough for him to break through to the 3-star Great Emperor realm, or even the 4-star Great Emperor realm. As long as Uncle Kong's cultivation broke through, his injuries would naturally heal, and he would be able to survive the next heavenly tribulation. Next, Huang Xiaolong chatted with Uncle Kong for a while. The next day, Lu Ming went to meet some old friends. In the ancient moon's sacred ground, Lu Ming still had some friends, such as Mu Qingxue, Yi Dongfang, and the others. Their talents were limited, and they did not go to the heavenly world. Lu Ming stayed in the ancient moon's sacred ground for more than 10 days, and he talked about martial arts with these friends. With Lu Ming's current cultivation realm and understanding of the laws, Yi Dongfang and the others were unfathomable. Lu Ming's casual pointers were enough to enlighten them, and they benefited greatly. More than 10 days later, Lu Ming left some resources for Yi Dongfang and the others, and then bid farewell to Uncle Kong. He left the ancient moon's sacred ground and headed to Tsang State. The most important thing for him to do was to return to Tsang State and the divine wilderness, and then move his family and friends to a place of cultivation. A few days after Lu Ming returned to the ancient moon's sacred ground, the news spread to the Han clan and Yi clan in the Celestial City, and the Daluo Heaven sect in the ancient Sun sacred ground. The He clan and Han clan were originally sworn enemies, but now, they had gathered to discuss matters. In a hall in the Han clan, the great emperors of the He clan, Han clan, and Tian Luo great emperor sat. Lu Ming has disappeared for many years. Now that he has reappeared, I'm afraid it's not good for us. The great emperor of the Han clan said with a grave expression. Lu Ming can't become an emperor, so he's not afraid. However, he can control the heavenly emperor's body, which is indeed troublesome. Tian Luo Great Emperor said. Back then, he had seen the power of the heavenly emperor's body. Even the 2-star Great Emperor of the Mu clan was killed. Then what should we do? Back then, we wanted to kill him, and Lu Ming is our sworn enemy. He will definitely not let us go. The Great Emperor of the He clan said. The three of them had a grave expression, not knowing what to do at that moment. The three of them were 1-star Great Emperors, but Lu Ming could control the heavenly emperor's body and kill a 2-star Great Emperor. Even if they joined forces, it would still be dangerous. At this moment, someone outside reported that there was important news. The Great Emperor of the Han clan asked the person to come in. Patriarch, young Master Xinghe is back. An old man came in and said excitedly. Xinghe is back. Quick, let him in. The Great Emperor of the Han clan was overjoyed. Han Xinghe had gone to the heaven domain for a few decades. Now that he had returned, the Great Emperor of the Han clan was looking forward to it. The three of them went out to welcome him, and soon, they saw Xinghe. Xinghe stood alone with his hands behind his back, exuding a sense of superiority. The 3 great emperors are here. Great. Seeing the 3 great emperors, Han Xinghe only nodded faintly, without the respect he had in the past. In the heaven domain, he had seen too many great emperors, including heavenly emperors. Naturally, he didn't have the same respect for great emperors. The 3 great emperors of the Han clan didn't find it strange because when Lu Ming saw Xinghe, he was shocked. True Emperor, Xinghe, you have broken through to the true Emperor realm? The great Emperor of the Han clan said excitedly. Not long ago. Han Xinghe nodded with a faint pride on his face. Great. Ha ha ha. The great Emperor of the Han clan laughed excitedly. On the side, the great emperors of the He clan and Tian Luo Great Emperor were envious. Reaching the true Emperor realm at such a young age, such talent was simply amazing. In the future, he would definitely break through to the Great Emperor realm or even higher. Chapter 2386. Xinghe, didn't I, son Sangqiong, come back with you? Tian Luo Great Emperor asked with some anticipation. Since Xinghe had become a true emperor, his grandson, Luo Zangqiong, must have reached a higher realm. Luo Zangqiong is dead. Xinghe said faintly. What? Tian Luo Great Emperor was shocked and his pupils shrank rapidly. In the next moment, his eyes turned red as he roared, Zangqiong is dead? How is that possible? How did he die? He was killed by Lu Ming. Xinghe said. He did not lie about this. Luo Zangqiong was indeed killed by Lu Ming in Alcade Ancient City. Lu Ming, Lu Ming, Lu Ming again. Tian Luo Great Emperor roared, his eyes were bloodshot and filled with endless murderous intent. Lu Ming. 2 of his Daluo Heaven Sect's geniuses had died in the hands of Lu Ming. Back then, he was also injured because of Lu Ming. Damn it, damn it. Tian Luo Great Emperor roared in his heart. Of course, he did not care why Luo Zangqiong and the others died in the hands of Lu Ming. Today, all of you are gathered here because of Lu Ming. I heard that Lu Ming has also returned to the Yuan realm, right? Xinghe continued. Return to the Yuan realm? What do you mean? Did Lu Ming also go to the heaven realm? Great Emperor Hang's expression changed. That's right. Xinghe nodded. How is that possible? Didn't they say that Lu Ming can't become an emperor and go to the heaven realm? How did he go there? Great Emperor Hang, Great Emperor He, and the others were extremely surprised. I don't know how he went to the heaven realm, but he did go there. Otherwise, how could Luo Zangqiong die in his hands? Moreover, Lu Ming has already become an emperor in the heaven realm. Xinghe said with a gloomy face. What? Lu Ming has become an emperor? How is that possible? He has mastered many different supreme laws at the same time. Even the heavenly emperor said that he can't become an emperor. How did he become an emperor? The three heavenly emperors exclaimed in shock. Not only did he become an emperor, but Lu Ming's strength is also an emperor now. Xinghe said. Hiss, this time, the Han clan, He clan, and Tian Luo great emperor sucked in a breath of cold air. They couldn't be more shocked. Not only had Lu Ming become an emperor, but he could also fight with a great emperor. What kind of freak was this? They could not calm. What now? Great and the others, and they become anxious. They xian they become them, great they. Emperor Ming return, TSS. They became more anxious. Emperor become an. Xinghe had been hiding emperor, hiding. For example, Lu Ming's combat strength. Recently, there were rumors that Lu Ming's combat strength was enough to kill a 4-star great emperor. Han Xinghe did not say it out loud as he was afraid it would frighten great emperor Han and the others. Lu Ming is too overpowered. If we allow him to grow, we will be the ones to die in the future. So, we have to get rid of him before he becomes too strong. Xinghe's eyes shone with a cold light. Get rid of him? How? Lu Ming's combat strength is comparable to a great emperor and he has the body of a heavenly emperor. How can we get rid of him with our strength? Great Emperor Han said anxiously. Great Emperor He and Great Emperor Tian Luo were the same. All of them wanted to kill Lu Ming, but given their abilities, they could not do so at all. We can find help. Isn't Lu Ming and the Mu clan in the God's Fate land sworn enemies? We can borrow the strength of the Mu clan to get rid of Lu Ming. Xinghe River. Everyone's eyes lit up. Yes. The Mu clan sent a great emperor to the ancient moon's sacred ground to kill him, but he was killed by Lu Ming with the body of a heavenly emperor. Mu Yang, the peerless genius of the Mu clan, also died in Lu Ming's hands. The Mu clan probably wants to get rid of Lu Ming more than us. We can contact the Mu clan and they will definitely help us. Great Emperor Tian Luo said excitedly. Luo Zhangxiong died in the hands of Lu Ming. Great Emperor Tian Luo's desire to kill Lu Ming was extremely strong. Does Lu Ming have any backing in the heaven domain? Will there be any trouble after we kill him? Great Emperor Han was more careful. Don't worry. I have a master in the heaven domain. He's a heavenly emperor expert. Although it's not convenient for him to do anything, he will help us deal with the aftermath. Nothing will happen. Xinghe River. What? Xinghe, you have a heavenly emperor as your master? Good. Ha ha ha. Great Emperor Han laughed excitedly. Great Emperor He clan and Great Emperor Tian Luo could only be envious. Since Xinghe's master was a heavenly emperor, they were more confident. They began to make preparations to contact the Mu clan to discuss how to kill Lu Ming. That night, Xinghe came to a secret place in Celestial City to meet an old man. This old man was Xinghe's master, a heavenly emperor expert. In the heaven domain, this old man was known as the Nine-Demon Heavenly Emperor. Is it done? The Nine-Demon Heavenly Emperor asked. It's done. The great emperors of the Han clan, He clan and Daluo Heaven sect will join forces with the Mu clan to kill Lu Ming. Xinghe River. That's good. The Nine-Demon Heavenly Emperor nodded with satisfaction. Master, Lu Ming's performance in the Void Divine Island is amazing. With his current strength, even with the Mu clan, it won't be easy to kill Lu Ming. Xinghe River. I don't intend to let them kill Lu Ming. I just want them to test whether Lu Ming has a heavenly emperor by his side. If he doesn't, I will kill him myself. The Nine-Demon Heavenly Emperor said with a cold light in his eyes. Master, there are more than a dozen heavenly emperors behind Lu Ming. Even if we kill him, those heavenly emperors won't let us go. And the Han clan, I'm afraid they will be destroyed. Xinghe said with some hesitation. Stupid. You are still soft-hearted. How can there be no sacrifice if you want to achieve great things? Every man for himself. Is the Han clan more important or your own future more important? The nine-demon heavenly emperor scolded. Xinghe's face changed and showed a trace of ruthlessness. He said, Master, I understand. Yes, it's inevitable to make some sacrifices in order to achieve great things. Lu Ming has great luck. I'm afraid he must have encountered countless fortuitous encounters along the way. As long as I kill him and obtain his fortuitous encounters, I'll extract the indestructible ancient sutra from his soul. By then, we can find a place to hide. Who would be able to find us? We will hide and cultivate. Regardless of the evil god tribe and the heaven realm fighting to the death, as long as we achieve great success in our divine skill, we will have invincible strength. At that time, no matter who is in charge of this world, there will be a place for us. The nine-demon heavenly emperor said as the cold light in his eyes became more intense. Master, I will listen to all your orders. Xinghe's eyes were full of anticipation. Lu Ming, all your fortuitous encounters will belong to me. Chapter 2387. A few days later, Great Emperor Hang, Great Emperor Tian Luo, and the rest contacted the Mu clan. However, the Mu clan was more cautious. They planned to invite assassins from the Death God nation to assassinate Lu Ming. Great Emperor Hang, Great Emperor Tian Luo, and the rest were overjoyed. With the help of the Death God nation, it would save them a lot of trouble. Lu Ming was naturally unaware of all this. He stayed in the ancient moon's sacred ground for more than 10 days before heading to Tsang State. With his speed, he soon arrived at Tsang State. Tsang State was now under the control of Dragon God Valley. It was a thriving place. Lu Ming flew directly to Dragon God Valley. At this moment, Dragon God Valley was having a meeting. At the peak of a mountain, there was an empty square. In the middle of the square, there was a battle stage. Two figures were fighting fiercely on it. If Lu Ming was here, he would recognize one of the figures on the battle stage. It was Fatty Kong Jin, and the other person was Lu Ming's senior brother, Tian Shui. Both of their attacks were direct, using the method of meeting force with force. Boom! Boom! One of them held a battle axe, while the other held a giant hammer. They constantly attacked and unleashed terrifying energy. After so many years, Kong Jin's cultivation had improved greatly. He had already broken through to the Great Saint realm. However, Tian Shui was naturally stronger than Kong Jin. He seemed to be at ease as he completely suppressed Kong Jin. There were many people sitting at the side of the battle stage. Lu Ming's master, Cloud Dragon Valley Master. There were also Xiao Wan, Supreme Nine Sons, Yan Kuangtu, and the others from Divine Wilderness Continent. Dragon God Valley had sent people to Divine Wilderness Continent. The two places had been connected. Kong Jin and Tian Shui exchanged dozens of blows. Kong Jin was completely suppressed. In the end, Tian Shui's hammer smashed him until he rolled on the ground. His fat jiggled non-stop. I'm done, I'm done. I'm no match for you. Let's fight again later. Kong Jin shouted. Weren't you quite arrogant before? Ha ha ha. Tian Shui laughed. Humph, you've been cultivating in Yuanlu since you were young. It's normal for your cultivation to be stronger than mine. Kong Jin curled his lips. Ha, fatty, did you get beaten up? At this moment, a clear and bright laughter came from the sky. Hearing this laughter, the fatty's eyes widened. Then, he was overjoyed and shouted, Lu Ming, haha, it's you, Lu Ming. Where have you been all these years? At the same time, the eyes of the Cloud Dragon Valley Master, Xiao Wan, Xia Jiuyang, and the others around the battle stage lit up as they looked towards the sky. There was no one in the sky. But in the next moment, a figure flashed. Lu Ming's figure appeared out of thin air. No one saw clearly how Lu Ming appeared. Lu Ming, it's really Lu Ming. Many people were overjoyed and rose into the air one after another. Master, Senior Xia, Senior Jiuyang, Big Brother Yan, Lu Ming cupped his fists and bowed to everyone. Lu Ming, where did you run off to? You've been gone for over 20 years, and there's not even a shadow of you. Kong Jin pursed his lips and walked over to give Lu Ming a punch. I went to the heavenly realm, and now I'm back to see you all. Lu Ming smiled. Heavenly realm? Kong Jin's eyes lit up and said, you actually went to the heavenly realm. How is it? Are there many experts in the heavenly realm? Of course, there are many experts. Martial emperors are everywhere. Lu Ming said. Everyone looked forward to it. Ming, how's your cultivation? The Cloud Dragon Valley Master asked. Many people also looked at Lu Ming. They had all heard rumors that Lu Ming could not become a martial emperor. Master, don't worry. I've already become a martial emperor. Lu Ming said with a smile. Great. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master was overjoyed. Congratulations, Alliance Leader. Xiao Wan, Xia Jiuyang, and the others were also overjoyed. The scene was filled with joy. By the way, where are my parents? Are they still in the Divine Wilderness continent? Lu Ming asked. No, they came to the Yuan continent. I don't know why, but the passage in Nine Dragons City suddenly collapsed. The origin chi in the Divine Wilderness continent has become thin again. Now, many people from the Dragon Alliance have come to the Yuan continent to cultivate. Xiao Wan explained. Lu Ming nodded. This was within his expectations. Then, the news of Lu Ming's return quickly spread. The Dragon God Valley was bustling with noise and excitement. The people from the Dragon God Valley and the Dragon Alliance also gathered. Not long after, Lu Ming met his parents and some other acquaintances. I'm back this time to bring you all to another place with better conditions to cultivate. It was still the same square, but this time, countless people gathered. Lu Ming stood at the highest point and said. Another place? Ming, where do you plan to go? The Cloud Dragon Valley Master asked. Celestial City, the leader of the 9 great sacred lands in the Yuan Mountain Land. Lu Ming said word by word. The cultivation environment in the Tsang state was still too bad. This time, Lu Ming came back to move the base to the Celestial City. Lu Ming would get rid of the Heng family and He family in the Celestial City to settle the people from the Dragon God Valley and the Dragon Alliance. Celestial City. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master's eyes lit up. Such a sacred land was simply unimaginable for them. Lu Ming could actually bring them to the Celestial City. Now, everyone can enter my small world first. After Lu Ming finished speaking, a small world appeared in his dantian. Lu Ming's body was surrounded by the resplendent World Divine Light. World Divine Light, True Emperor Realm, this is a true emperor. The legendary True Emperor. The scene was in an uproar. Everyone was shocked and overjoyed. Especially Lu Ming's father Lu Yuntian and mother Li Ping, they were even more overjoyed. The higher Lu Ming's achievements were, the happier they would be. For the people of the Tsang state or Divine Wilderness continent, the Void Emperor was a supreme existence, not to mention a true emperor. In the past, they had never even heard of it. The small world became bigger and bigger, finally reaching 100 miles in size, covering the sky above the square. Go in. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master, Xiao Wan, and the others rushed into Lu Ming's small world. Behind them, Lu Ming's parents and the others also rushed in one after another. One by one, the figures dashed into Lu Ming's small world and disappeared. Not long after, there were hundreds of thousands of people who entered Lu Ming's small world. When everyone entered Lu Ming's small world, it shrank and flew back into Lu Ming's dantian. Lu Ming's soul force condensed in the small world, it was no different from a real person. Such rich origin chi, the origin chi here is richer than in the Tsang state. This is Lu Ming's small world, right? It's really vast. Everyone carefully sized it up and flew around curiously. Lu Ming's small world was 700,000 miles wide. Although it was considered small compared to the outside world and was not worth mentioning, a few 100,000 miles was more than enough for one to cultivate here. When Lu Ming led the crowd to the Enlightenment Ancient Tree, everyone was shocked. Because here, their cultivation speed increased crazily. Some people gained enlightenment on the spot and broke through. Chapter 2388. After that, everyone began to make arrangements. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master sent some people to collect some of the Dragon God's resources in Sung State and put them into Lu Ming's small world. For example, some spiritual herbs and sacred herbs were planted in Lu Ming's small world. Now, Lu Ming's small world had taken shape. After dozens of years of reproduction, green grass was everywhere. The trees had also fully grown, and some were even hundreds of meters tall. There were also various spiritual herbs and sacred herbs that decorated the mountain peaks. Lu Ming even took the time to buy a large number of low-level demonic beasts and sent them into his small world, making it seem full of vitality. It looked no different from a normal world. The Cloud Dragon Valley Master left a small group of people in Sung State. The others entered Lu Ming's small world, intending to move their base. After settling the matters in Sung State, Lu Ming made another trip to the Divine Wilderness Continent. When Lu Ming appeared, the Divine Wilderness Continent was naturally shaken. Now that the Divine Wilderness Continent was completely under the control of the Dragon Alliance, Lu Ming asked the upper echelons of the Dragon Alliance to gather all the talented people in the Dragon Alliance. Then, he asked for everyone's opinion. Those who were willing to leave with Lu Ming entered Lu Ming's small world. Naturally, most people were willing to leave. On the path of cultivation, everyone wanted to climb higher mountains, leave the divine wilderness, and enter a better place for cultivation. Who wouldn't be willing? After everything was ready, Lu Ming left the divine wilderness continent and returned to Sung State. Then, without looking back, he headed for the Ancient Moon Sacred Ground. He planned to go to the Ancient Moon Sacred Ground first, then go to Celestial City to deal with the Hung and He families. However, just as Lu Ming was about to reach the Ancient Moon Sacred Ground, Lu Ming's eyes suddenly moved. This was because Lu Ming could sense a cold murderous intent in the sky. Whoosh! At this moment, a sword light suddenly pierced out from the void. Its speed was extremely fast. This sword was a one-hit kill. It was fast, accurate, and ruthless. Its power was extremely strong. The sword light contained the aura of the Great Tao. The assassin was a great emperor. As soon as the sword light appeared, a terrifying killing intent surged out. The sword light was already nearing Lu Ming's forehead. But Lu Ming's expression was very calm. Before his opponent's sword light could pierce his glabella, his two fingers had already caught the sword light between his eyebrows. Then, the sword light froze, unable to move forward at all. It was a black-clothed man with a mask on his face. It was the Death God mask. At this moment, the black-clothed man's pupils contracted rapidly. The killing blow that he had been brewing for a long time was actually caught between Lu Ming's two fingers. No matter how hard he tried, Lu Ming's fingers and his sword couldn't move an inch. Terrifying, what terrifying strength! He understood that Lu Ming's strength was too terrifying, and did not match the information they had received. Retreat! He let go of the sword in his hand and retreated as fast as he could. He had the cultivation of a great emperor and was good at speed. His speed was extremely fast. However, Lu Ming was faster than him. Lu Ming's figure flashed and appeared behind him. He reached out a hand and clasped his neck. A terrifying force surged in. The black-clothed man's body was sore and weak, unable to move at all. At this moment, he was extremely terrified. His cultivation was a one-star great emperor. Given his cultivation, he did not have the slightest ability to resist Lu Ming. How was that possible? How could Lu Ming be so strong? Death God Kingdom, It's too late to leave now. Lu Ming sneered and looked to the front. Then, the muscles on his body shook and his figure dashed out. He did not know how far he had dashed in an instant. In front, there was another black-clothed man with a death god mask on his face, fleeing frantically. This person's cultivation was stronger than the black-clothed man in Lu Ming's hand. He was a 2-star Great Emperor. However, he didn't dare to stay any longer. A 1-star Great Emperor was as weak as a baby in Lu Ming's hands. Lu Ming's strength was definitely above that of a 2-star Great Emperor. He could only flee. Otherwise, he would die. However, fleeing was also a dead end. Bang! Lu Ming threw out a punch. A terrifying fist intent crushed the void. The black-clothed man felt a deadly threat and unleashed his full strength, slashing backward with his sword. The slash was strong, but it couldn't withstand a single blow from Lu Ming's fist intent. As the fist intent passed by, the sword intent collapsed. The black-clothed man's body exploded and turned into ashes. A 2-star Great Emperor was killed in a single blow. The black-clothed man in Lu Ming's hand opened his eyes wide. Damn it, I've been tricked. He roared in his heart. They had received news that Lu Ming's strength was only equivalent to that of a 1-star Great Emperor. However, he had a heavenly emperor's body with him. However, in the eyes of these assassins, what they valued was the opponent's strength. External forces were useless. They could kill with a single blow. Even if they had a heavenly emperor's body, they couldn't use it. However, Lu Ming's current strength was more than that of a 1-star Great Emperor. Even a 3-star Great Emperor wasn't that strong. He was simply an advanced Great Emperor. Death God Nation, Tell me, who sent you to kill me? Lu Ming looked at the black-clothed man in his hand and said coldly. Don't you think you can get any information from me? The black-clothed man said. Oh, is that so? Lu Ming said faintly. The power of the realm swirled and the other party's mask turned into ashes, revealing a pale middle-aged man's face. Bang! Lu Ming suddenly attacked. The power of law was like a blade, cutting off one of the other party's arms. However, the other party only groaned and didn't even frown. These assassins had undergone strict training and their minds were far more tenacious than ordinary people. Moreover, the other party was a great emperor. You don't have to waste your time. Just kill me. The other party looked coldly at Lu Ming. You want to die? Not so easy. Lu Ming said coldly and then punched the man's dantian. The terrifying power directly tore the man's small world apart and completely crippled his cultivation. With his cultivation crippled, the man let out a roar and stared at Lu Ming with bloodshot eyes. For a great emperor, having his cultivation crippled after a lifetime of hard work was worse than death. Are you going to tell me or not? Lu Ming said coldly. I won't tell you. Give up. The black-clothed man roared. If you don't tell me, I can only search your soul. After Lu Ming finished speaking, he pointed his finger at the other party's forehead and a powerful force poured in. He wanted to search the other party's soul to find out the secrets he knew. At the same time, Lu Ming wanted to find the headquarters of the Death God Nation and destroy this force in one fell swoop. This wasn't the first time this force had sent people to assassinate him. Back then, before the 10 Earths battle, he was assassinated by this force. That time, he almost died. If it wasn't for the scapegoat Xian Yanqing gave him, he would have been in danger. Chapter 2389. Lu Ming pointed his finger between the eyebrows of the man in black. A powerful force, together with Lu Ming's own soul power, surged into the man's sea of consciousness and rushed towards his soul to search his soul. However, when Lu Ming's soul power approached the man's soul, Lu Ming's face suddenly changed. This was because he felt a terrifying dark force near the man's soul. When Lu Ming's soul power approached, the dark force exploded and swallowed the man in black's soul. The man in black let out a shrill scream and his body struggled violently. In just a few breaths, his soul disappeared without a trace. Lu Ming withdrew his power and his face was gloomy. Someone had set up a seal near the man in black's soul. Once someone searched his soul, the seal would explode and destroy the soul of the person who was searched. No wonder the Death Nation was so mysterious. For so many years, no one had been able to find the headquarters of the Death Nation. At this moment, the man in black had completely turned into an idiot. Lu Ming waved his hand and flung the man in black away. He then fell into deep thought. The Death Nation wouldn't attack me for no reason. Someone must have hired an assassin from the Death Nation. Who could it be? In the Yuan realm, the most likely suspects are the Heng family, the He family, and the Daluo Heaven sect. However, the Death Nation is a huge force in the Divine Fate land. They have many experts. The Heng family, the He family, and the Daluo Heaven sect don't have such power. Then, it must be the Mu family. Many thoughts flashed through Lu Ming's mind. He had deduced most of the matter. However, I can't rule out the possibility that other forces want to get rid of me. Or, it could be an expert from the Heaven realm. I must investigate this matter thoroughly. The Death Nation didn't kill me this time, but there will be a next time. I have to find someone to help me. Thinking of this, Lu Ming continued to move forward and entered the ancient moon sanctuary. He returned to the Great Elixir Development Hall and let everyone know that he was back. Then, he used the Divine Breath skill to change his appearance. He left the Great Elixir Development Hall and came to the passage that he had used to return from the Heaven realm. Lu Ming arrived at the Grand Lucidity Celestial Realm through the passage and sent a message to Dandan. Dandan was very cunning and had many tricks up his sleeve. Perhaps he had a way to find out. At the same time, Lu Ming transmitted a message to Bubble. Bubble's current understanding of the spacetime laws was already extremely profound. She might be able to help. Not long after, Dandan and Bubbles arrived. Big brother Lu Ming. As soon as Bubbles saw Lu Ming, it hung around his neck. Lu Ming, why are you looking for me? Dandan asked casually. It had only been a short while since they last met, but Dandan's cultivation had improved again, reaching the 7 stars martial Monarch realm. I need your help. Lu Ming said. Ha ha ha, I knew you needed my help. You found the right person. Tell me, what's the matter? Dandan grinned and said with a smug look on her face. Immediately, Lu Ming told Bubble about the matter. Someone actually wants to harm big brother Lu Ming. Bubble, go and destroy them. Bubble was extremely displeased after hearing that. Kid, you want me to search your soul to find out the mastermind and the headquarters of the Death God Nation? Dandan asked. That's right. Lu Ming nodded. It's very difficult to search your soul after placing a restriction in your soul. Dandan frowned. Didn't you say that I found the right person? Lu Ming said in disdain. Dandan glared and said, what's wrong? Don't underestimate me. Let me tell you, although this matter is difficult, it's not difficult for me. However, I still need this little guy's help. After saying that, Dandan looked at Bubble. You need Bubble's help? Lu Ming was puzzled. Yes, we'll know when the time comes. Let's go. Dandan said. Wait a minute, just in case, let's find 2 more helpers. Lu Ming said. Then, Lu Ming sent another message. Not long after, the void flashed, and 2 figures appeared. These 2 figures were Tu Yi and Lei Yi. Lu Ming was worried that there would be experts from the Heaven realm involved in this, so he found Tu Yi and Lei Yi just in case. Greetings, young master. Tu Yi and Lei Yi bowed. Immediately, Lu Ming told them about the matter. Tu Yi, Lei Yi, the 2 of you enter my small world first, so as not to alert the enemy. Lu Ming said. Okay. Tu Yi and Lei Yi nodded, then entered Lu Ming's small world. Lu Ming let Dandan enter the small world as well, only bringing Bubble along. They returned to the primordial realm through the passage and quietly returned to the Great Pill Evolution Palace. After returning to the Great Pill Evolution Palace, Lu Ming stayed for more than 10 days before Lu Ming set off for Celestial City. He was deliberately giving the other party time to react. Lu Ming swaggered, not hiding his appearance and aura at all. Sure enough, on the way, he was assassinated again. This time, the Death God Nation sent out 3 experts, and their cultivation was shockingly high. 1 was a 4-star Great Emperor, and 2 were 3-star Great Emperors. Obviously, the last time the Death God Nation's assassination failed, and the 2 experts did not return, which made them cautious. This time, they directly sent out 3 experts. With such a lineup, coupled with the assassination, even a 4-star Great Emperor would be in danger. There was a high possibility that he would die. Unfortunately, they met Lu Ming. This battle was almost a one-sided battle. That 4-star Great Emperor was smashed to death by Lu Ming with a few punches. The 2 3-star Great Emperors were also heavily injured by Lu Ming with a punch each. One of them had his cultivation crippled by Lu Ming, and all of his movements were sealed. He was then thrown to the ground. Lu Ming interrogated him, but the other party did not say a word. With a thought, Dandan's figure appeared. "Dandan, what should we do?" Lu Ming asked. "Their souls have been set up with restrictions. It's very difficult to search their souls. As soon as a force approaches their souls will self-destruct. Therefore, my method does not go through their souls. In the brain of every living being, there are countless tiny meridians. Some of those meridians are called memory meridians, and have the ability to remember things. My method is to use a spell formation to control this person's consciousness, and then have Bubble use a time reversal magic to see what happened in the past through his memory nerves." Dandan explained. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Indeed, this method was definitely feasible. With Bubble's current control of the spacetime law, there was no problem in using time reversal. "You guys," at the side, the 3-star Great Emperor who was not crippled was shocked. He wanted to struggle, but he was directly trampled to death by Dandan. Then, Dandan started to set up the array. Runes entered the other party's body one after another. After a while, the other party's eyes became lax as if he had become retarded. "Little guy, do it," Dandan shouted. Chirp chirp. Bubble made a move, and the powerful power of time enveloped the black-robed man. Then, Dandan waved his hand, and images appeared in the void. These images were the other party's memories. For example, the images of the other party ambushing Lu Ming, the images on the way here, and so on. Chapter 2390. Dandan used a formation to control the other party's consciousness. Together with Bubble's time reversal, she projected the other party's memories. It was as if time was flowing backward, and the memories appeared one by one. Soon, Lu Ming saw an image. It was the man in black discussing something with several others. The celestial emperors of House Hang and Exalted, Lu Ming recognized them at a glance. They were the celestial emperors of House Hang, Exalted, and he. There were 2 others that Lu Ming didn't recognize. Apart from them, the rest were the men in black from the Nation of Death. It really is House Hang and he. A cold glint flashed through Lu Ming's eyes. And House Mu. Although there was no sound in the memories, he could discern what they were saying from the shape of their lips. House Hang, he, Exalted Heaven Sect, and House Mu, I didn't go looking for you, but you've tried to kill me time and time again. There's no need for you to stay in this world. Lu Ming said coldly. The memories didn't stop, but continued to rewind. Soon, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He saw what he wanted to see, how to find the Nation of Death's headquarters. The Nation of Death's headquarters was an underground city, an ancient underground city. Moreover, it wasn't static, but mobile. Every once in a while, it would move to another location. Moreover, the way to get to the underground city was very complicated. One step was all it took to find it. No wonder no one has found the Nation of Death's headquarters after so many years. Lu Ming murmured, his eyes filled with cold killing intent. He would destroy the Nation of Death's headquarters as well. Ah! Suddenly, the man in black roared and convulsed. He fell to the ground, foaming at the mouth. The restriction on his soul has been activated. His soul has been destroyed and his nerves are damaged. His memories can no longer be seen. Dandan said. That's enough. I've seen what I wanted to see. Lu Ming said. Bubble called it a day and sat on Lu Ming's shoulder to recover. Using time reversal consumed a lot of Bubble's energy. Lu Ming, do you want to deal with the Mu clan and Hang clan first, or do you want to deal with the Nation of Death first? Dandan asked. Let's destroy the Mu family and Hang family first to avoid alerting the enemy. The Death God Nation isn't in a hurry. They definitely don't know that we've already found a way to reach their headquarters. Lu Ming sneered. Immediately, Lu Ming turned the corpses of the assassins into ashes. After that, he continued his journey towards Celestial City. Not long later, they arrived at Celestial City. When Lu Ming arrived at the Hang and He families, he found that the two families were already empty. Only a few people with low cultivation were left behind to guard them. They're leaving pretty fast. I reckon they've already gone to the Mu clan. Lu Ming sneered. Then, his aura erupted. Boom! Lu Ming's aura was like that of an ancient beast. His qi and blood were boiling, and it was terrifying to the extreme. The terrifying aura was like a tsunami, pressing down on the countless palaces of the Hang family. How could the remaining people of the Hang family resist this kind of pressure? Each and every one of them knelt on the ground in fear, as if they were facing a god. Who is that? What a terrifying aura. It's Lu Ming, it's Lu Ming. What? Lu Ming, didn't they say that he can't become an emperor? This kind of aura is simply boundless and unfathomable. I'm afraid that Lu Ming has already become an emperor. Moreover, his cultivation is unfathomable. All around, people discovered the situation here and began to discuss in shock. Clearly, Lu Ming had succeeded in his cultivation and came back to find trouble with the Hang family. This news spread out like a hurricane. In the Celestial City, countless silhouettes flew towards the Hang clan. The surroundings of the Hang family were surrounded tightly for a moment. Strange, why didn't anyone from the Hang family come out? There's not a single strong aura in the Hang family. All of them are very weak. Could it be that the Hang family knows that Lu Ming is coming, and the experts of the Hang family have all retreated? It's very likely. Looks like the Hang family is going to be wiped out today. Many people speculated and then became excited. The Hang family and the He family were the two strongest forces in Celestial City. With a great emperor overseeing them, they were usually arrogant and despotic. The other forces had to give them face. Now that they were really going to be wiped out, it was simply too satisfying. Everyone in the Hang family, listen up. From today onwards, the Hang family belongs to me. All of you, leave. I'll give you 1 hour. Those who don't leave will be killed without mercy. At this time, Lu Ming opened his mouth, and his voice spread to every corner. All of them were weaklings. Lu Ming disdained to make a move. Because the number of these weaklings was too great. Hundreds of thousands, millions of them. Lu Ming wasn't a bloodthirsty person, and he wouldn't kill these weaklings either. If he wanted to kill, he would kill the strongest group of people. Let's go. The people of the Hang family didn't hesitate. As soon as Lu Ming's voice fell, they rushed out of the Hang family one after another. Facing an enemy like Lu Ming, with their cultivation, it was impossible for them to resist. Only death awaited them if they resisted. The upper echelons of the Hang family had left. There was no need for them to protect the Hang family with their lives. Not long after, not a single person was left in the Hang family. Dandan, help me set up a formation. Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Dandan. All right. Dandan nodded. His figure moved and flew out. With a wave of his hands, endless runes spread out. This time, Dandan spent a total of 3 days to set up the formation. A huge formation was formed, enveloping the countless palaces in the Han family. With Dandan's current cultivation, unless the Heavenly Emperor came, no one would be able to break the formation that he spent 3 days to set up. Following that, Lu Ming entered the small world and discussed with Xiao Wan, the Cloud Dragon Valley Master, and the others to send people to guard the Han family. In the end, the Cloud Dragon Valley Master led the people of the Dragon God Valley to guard the He family. What a rich origin chi! The Cloud Dragon Valley Master and the others came out of Lu Ming's small world. They looked around excitedly, feeling the origin chi around them. Celestial City was the leader of the 9 great cultivation holy lands in the land of Yuan Mountain. The cultivation environment was many times better than Song Province. They were naturally excited. Moreover, the Han family's territory was vast. Although there were many people in the Dragon God Valley, they could easily stay there. After the arrangements were made, Lu Ming came to the He family. The He family was the same as the Han family. All the experts had left. Lu Ming easily occupied the He family and let Dandan set up a formation. Then, Lu Ming let the people of the Dragon God Valley and his parents out to stay in the He family. Although there was the Enlightenment ancient tree in his small world, the heaven and earth origin chi was far inferior to Celestial City. For the time being, the cultivation environment in Celestial City was better. Moreover, Lu Ming did not plan to let so many people stay in his small world. Because he had encountered many dangers along the way. He did not know what would happen in the future. If he encountered danger, the people in his small world would also be in danger. From now on, the Han family and He family's properties will be under my name, Lu Ming. Chapter 2391. On this day, Lu Ming's voice spread throughout Celestial City. A terrifying aura filled every corner of Celestial City. Great Emperor. That was a powerful aura comparable to a great emperor. It was terrifying. Everyone was so shocked that they couldn't be any more shocked. Lu Ming had reached the great emperor realm in just a short period of time. He clan and Han clan have done a lot of evil. Now that they have been eliminated, we will definitely assist the great emperor. Someone replied and addressed Lu Ming as great emperor. The properties left behind by He clan and Han clan were very shocking. If he didn't use his strength to intimidate them, there would be people fighting for them. However, Valley Master Yunlong and Xiao Wan were too weak to compete with these forces in Celestial City. Lu Ming could only intimidate them with his strength. With his intimidation, these people would not dare to act rashly. Looks like I have to send some puppets from Chaos Palace to guard this place. Lu Ming thought in his heart. The puppets in Chaos Palace were numerous experts. Except for 2E, Jean E, and the rest who were heavenly emperors, the rest were great emperors, true emperors, void emperors, saints, etc. It was enough to send a few great emperor puppets to guard this place. Lu Ming stayed in Celestial City for a few days. When things were more or less settled down, Lu Ming went to Ancient Sun's sacred ground again. Daluo Heaven's sect was the same as Han clan and He clan. Most of the higher-ups had left, leaving only a few weaker ones to guard this place. Lu Ming helped Ouyang Wushuang's clan to occupy Daluo Heaven sect's territory. Han clan, He clan, Daluo Heaven sect, do you think I can't do anything to you after you hide in Mu clan? Just nice, I'll wipe you all out. Lu Ming sneered, killing intent flashed in his eyes. He stayed in Celestial City for a while and left a large amount of resources. Then, he left Celestial City and headed towards the Divine Fate Land. However, there was one more person on this trip, and that was Autumn Moon. He and Autumn Moon had not seen each other for many years, and Autumn Moon missed him dearly. Now that they had met, she naturally could not bear to part with him. With Lu Ming's current cultivation, the journey was very smooth. He crossed the sea and entered the Divine Fate Land. Lu Ming did not stop and went straight to Aeon City. The Mu family was one of the strongest forces in Aeon City. After Lu Ming, Autumn Moon, Bubbles, and Dandan entered Aeon's city, they didn't take action immediately. Instead, they found a place to stay. However, Lu Ming did not conceal his identity. His goal was to alert the Mu family and gather all the experts of the Mu family. Then, he would wipe them out in one fell swoop. Mid-autumn moon, let's go out for a walk. Lu Ming said to Autumn Moon. Sure. Autumn Moon's face was full of smiles. She held Lu Ming's hand and walked out. The two of them strolled around Aeon City. Later, the two of them walked into a huge market. This was the largest market in Aeon City. There were all kinds of treasures inside, dazzling one's eyes. Before the 10 Earths Assembly battle, Lu Ming came to Aeon City. However, due to the pressure from the 10 Earths Assembly battle, Lu Ming did not have the chance to walk around to his heart's content. This was the first time he came to this market. Mid-autumn moon, what do you want? Just tell me. Lu Ming said with a smile. Sure. Autumn Moon blinked her big eyes a few times and then looked around. Later, they walked into a divine weapon shop. It sold all kinds of weapons, such as sacred weapons, void overlord weapons, and true overlord weapons. Young master, I want that. Autumn Moon looked for a while and pointed at a hairpin. This hairpin was made of a special kind of jade. It looked very exquisite. This young lady has good taste. This hairpin is made of 10,000-year-old warm jade. Wearing it will not only beautify your face, but also help in cultivation and comprehending the laws. It's a top-grade void overlord weapon. A tall and thin middle-aged man said with a smile. How many origin stones? I want it. Lu Ming said. 5,000 supreme-grade origin stones. The tall and thin middle-aged man said with a smile. 5,000 supreme-grade origin stones is so expensive. Young master, I don't want it. Autumn Moon was shocked when she heard that. 5,000 supreme-grade origin stones were supreme-grade origin stones, the highest grade of origin stones. Even great emperors and heavenly emperors used supreme-grade origin stones to cultivate. It was obvious how precious they were. 5,000 was indeed a high price. However, to Lu Ming, 5,000 supreme-grade origin stones were just a drop in the ocean. Silly girl, since you like it, I'll buy it no matter how expensive it is. Lu Ming smiled and waved his hand. A storage ring appeared. He threw it to the tall and thin middle-aged man and said, Shopkeeper, 5,000 supreme-grade origin stones. The tall and thin middle-aged man took the ring and scanned it with his spiritual consciousness. He smiled and then handed the hairpin to Lu Ming. As soon as Lu Ming took the hairpin, a voice was heard. Wait a minute, I want this hairpin. As the voice was heard, a group of people walked over. The leader was a young woman. She was very beautiful, but she was not as beautiful as Autumn Moon. Behind the young woman was a young woman dressed like a maid and two old men. When he saw the young woman, the shopkeeper's expression changed. He then smiled apologetically and said, So it's Miss Dongfang. It's an honor to have Miss Dongfang here. Shopkeeper, sell that hairpin to me. The young woman said in a commanding tone. The shopkeeper smiled bitterly and said, Miss Dongfang, you're too late. This young man has already bought the hairpin. The young lady responded coldly and looked at Lu Ming with a hint of arrogance. She lifted her neck and continued in a commanding tone. Give this hairpin to me. How many primordial stones do you want? I'll give them to you. I'm sorry, this hairpin is not for sale. Lu Ming said with a smile. Not for sale? The young woman's eyes narrowed and flashed with displeasure. She said, You want to raise the price of the origin stones, right? Tell me, how many origin stones do you want? I said, I'm not for sale. I don't lack origin stones. Lu Ming said. Kid, what did you say? My young lady has her eyes on it. You have to sell it even if you don't want to. You probably don't know who my young lady is. She's Dongfang Shuiyu, the number one genius in the divine land. She's Xian Lin's fiancée. Do you know? The servant girl behind the young lady jumped out and scolded, looking at Lu Ming threateningly. The number one genius in the divine land? Lu Ming muttered. It seemed that Tian Ming, Yuan Xian, and the others had been in the heaven realm for decades. A new batch of geniuses had appeared in the divine land. Are you afraid now? Let me tell you, young Master Xian Lin is the young master of the Xian family in Aeon City. If you don't respect him today, don't even think about leaving Aeon City. The maid continued to shout. The young woman, who was Dongfang Shuiyu, showed a proud look. Xian Lin, Dongfang Shuiyu, I've never heard of you. You can get lost now. Lu Ming said Dandan, then turned around and walked toward the mid-autumn moon. I'll bring you the mid-autumn moon. Chapter 2392. Mid-autumn moon was already extraordinary. With the hairpin, she looked even more beautiful. Coupled with the blush on her cheeks, she looked even more alluring. Dongfang Shuiyu, who was at the side, was trembling with anger. Lu Ming actually told her to get lost? Who was she? She was a genius of her generation and her fiancé was the number one genius of the divine land. Lu Ming actually told her to get lost? Courting death, he was courting death. Dongfang Shuiyu screamed in her heart. Especially after seeing mid-autumn moon's beauty, she went crazy with jealousy. Women were naturally jealous. Dongfang Shuiyu had always been proud of her beauty. However, compared to mid-autumn moon, she was completely outshone by autumn moon. Bitch, how dare you wear my hairpin? I'll tear your face apart. Dongfang Shuiyu screamed. Her body was like lightning as she pounced towards mid-autumn moon. Her claws were like knives as she clawed towards autumn moon's face. Get lost. Lu Ming shouted coldly as he slapped her. Lu Ming's speed was so fast that Dongfang Shuiyu couldn't dodge at all. She was slapped by Lu Ming. Slap. A crisp sound rang out. Dongfang Shuiyu screamed as her body flew out and fell to the ground. Her face was swollen. Of course, Lu Ming had held back. Otherwise, she wouldn't even be left with ashes. Dongfang Shuiyu was stunned. Everyone else in the shop was stunned. Lu Ming actually dared to slap Dongfang Shuiyu. Did he want to die? Kill him for me, kill this bastard. Dongfang Shuiyu was stunned for a moment before she reacted and screamed. Kid, you're courting death. Kneel down and admit your mistake. There were two old men who came with Dongfang Shuiyu. At this moment, one of them shouted and pounced towards Lu Ming. A terrifying aura exploded and a strong pressure pressed towards Lu Ming. Everyone else at the side retreated. Martial Emperor. This old man was a martial emperor. However, he was only a one-star illusionary martial emperor. He was the weakest martial emperor. Scram. Lu Ming shouted coldly and kicked out. His speed was as fast as lightning, and it landed on the opponent's face. The old man also screamed and flew out, following in Dongfang Shuiyu's footsteps. His face was swollen like a pig's. So strong. Everyone was shocked. Killing a one-star martial monarch with a single move. Such strength was impressive. Moreover, Lu Ming did not look very old. There were not many people who could reach the martial emperor realm at his age in the entire divine fate land. Scram. If you don't scram, I'll kill you. Lu Ming coldly shouted, and a chilling murderous intent filled the air. Lu Ming, he's Lu Ming. Suddenly, someone shouted from the side. Lu Ming had taken first place in the 10 Lands meeting and was very famous. Many people had seen Lu Ming before and now he was finally recognized. What? Lu Ming? Which Lu Ming? Nonsense, of course it's that Lu Ming who defeated everyone and took first place in the first 10 Lands meeting. It's him. He disappeared for decades. I didn't expect him to appear again. All of a sudden, the surrounding people discussed and sized up this legendary figure curiously. Lu Ming's reputation was very well known. In the divine fate land, as long as one's cultivation was slightly higher, they would have heard of him. He took first place in the first 10 lands meeting. His talent was unparalleled, but he could not become an martial emperor. So you're Lu Ming, a cripple who can never become an martial emperor. How dare you hit me? If you have the ability, don't leave. I'll tear you into pieces. At this moment, Dongfang Shuiyu screamed again. Oh, is that so? I'd like to see how you're going to tear me into pieces. I'll wait for you here. Lu Ming said and sat down on a chair at the side. You cripple, trash, just you wait. Dongfang Shuiyu screamed a few times and hurriedly left with her people. Young Master Lu, you'd better leave quickly. Dongfang Shuiyu will definitely go to the Xian family to look for Xian Lin. The Xian family is one of the strongest forces in Aeon City. Their strength is unfathomable. The shopkeeper hurriedly came to warn him. No worries. Lu Ming smiled. It was better to blow things up. Blow things up and let the Mu family prepare. Lu Ming wanted to give the other party time to prepare. Seeing that he could not persuade him, the shopkeeper shook his head and retreated. Lu Ming and Autumn Moon waited leisurely. News of what happened here quickly spread. The first place in the 10 lands meeting, Lu Ming, reappeared. Moreover, he even slapped Dongfang Shuiyu in public. This was no small matter. Dongfang Shuiyu's fiancé was the #1 prodigy in the divine fate land. Would the two of them clash? Moreover, the Xian family would not let the matter rest. How should Lu Ming deal with it? Immediately, countless people who heard the news rushed over and surrounded the shop to watch. Xian Lin is here. Lu Ming did not wait for long before exclamations came from outside. A group of people stepped on the air. The leader was a young man. He was very handsome and wore a black iron battle suit. He looked mighty and extraordinary. This person was the #1 prodigy in the divine fate land, Xian Lin. Dongfang Shuiyu followed beside Xian Lin. At this time, the swelling on her face had subsided. Her face was full of tears, looking like she had suffered a great grievance. Behind them were some people who were all experts of the Xian family. Lu Ming, get out here. Xian Lin came to the door of the shop and roared. 3-star illusionary emperor, about 50 years old, far inferior to Tianming and the rest. Lu Ming did not go out. With a sweep of his spiritual consciousness, he knew Xian Lin's cultivation and age. Reaching 3-star illusionary emperor at the age of 50 was indeed far inferior to Tianming and Yuan Xian. Autumn Moon, let's go and meet the #1 prodigy. Lu Ming smiled faintly and walked out of the shop with Qiu Yu. All of a sudden, all eyes fell on Lu Ming. Lu Ming. Xian Lin's gaze also fell on Lu Ming. How do you want to settle this? Lu Ming looked at Xian Lin. Fight with me. Xian Lin stepped out and his voice spread far away, revealing a strong fighting spirit. Many people's eyes lit up. Xian Lin wanted to challenge Lu Ming. One was the #1 prodigy now, the other was the #1 prodigy decades ago. Who was stronger between the two of them? Who do you think is stronger between Lu Ming and Xian Lin? It's hard to say, but I think it's Xian Lin. Lu Ming can't become an emperor. His cultivation is stuck at the quasi-emperor realm. No matter how much time has passed, it's difficult for him to improve. According to Lu Ming's strength back then, he can't be a match for Xian Lin. That's right, I think so too. Many people discussed and felt that Lu Ming was not a match for Xian Lin. The Sky Emperor said personally that Lu Ming could not become an emperor. This could not be wrong. Although Lu Ming was powerful back then, he could only fight with the top talents of 2-star illusionary emperors. On the other hand, Xian Lin's cultivation was a 3-star illusionary emperor. The law that he mastered was also the strongest law. His combat strength was extremely powerful. It was not difficult for him to suppress Lu Ming back then. Chapter 2393. Fight with me? I don't want to bully the weak. Lu Ming shook his head slightly. Xian Lin's cultivation was not worth mentioning in his eyes. Lu Ming, you don't dare to fight, do you? Xian Lin took a step forward in an aggressive manner. During the Battle of 10 Lands, he was still young and his cultivation was insufficient. He couldn't compete with Lu Ming and the rest, and that was something he regretted. He was ambitious and wanted to defeat Lu Ming to prove that if he was in that era, he could also become the #1 genius. If you want to fight, I'll fight with you. Autumn Moon said. Humph, Lu Ming, are you going to hide behind a woman? You are indeed useless. Useless. You actually won the first battle of 10 lands. What a joke. Attack, I'll defeat you in 10 moves. Xian Lin shouted coldly and kept stepping forward. His powerful aura kept pressuring Lu Ming. In the end, he threw a punch and a giant tortoise was formed. It was as big as a mountain and it pressed down on Lu Ming. Since you want to fight, I'll play with you. Lu Ming said calmly and stepped out. With a swoosh, Lu Ming charged towards Xian Lin. Boom! Without seeing Lu Ming attack, Lu Ming charged past and Xian Lin's giant tortoise exploded. Lu Ming didn't stop and he appeared in front of Xian Lin in an instant. The two of them were less than a meter apart. Xian Lin's pupils constricted and he roared in horror. He retreated frantically. But suddenly, he realized that he couldn't move at all. The space around him seemed to have been locked down. Lu Ming reached out and grabbed Xian Lin's throat. Everyone couldn't help but open their eyes wide. What was going on? They didn't see Lu Ming attack and there wasn't any powerful aura. How did Lu Ming grab Xian Lin's throat? It was as if Xian Lin was waiting there and didn't move at all for Lu Ming to grab. Everyone couldn't figure it out. With your strength, you want to challenge me? Lu Ming said softly, his voice full of disdain. Xian Lin struggled frantically, his eyes flashing with terror. Scram! Lu Ming swung his hand and Xian Lin's body was smashed into the ground. With a loud bang, a huge crater appeared on the ground. Xian Lin lay in the crater and vomited blood. Everyone else was dumbfounded. One move, no, Lu Ming didn't even make a move, and Xian Lin was defeated. He couldn't even withstand a single blow. Wasn't Lu Ming unable to become a great emperor? How could he have such powerful battle prowess? Could it be that Lu Ming had already become a great emperor? Thinking of this, many people's hearts beat wildly. Lu Ming already grasped many laws below martial emperor. He even grasped different strongest laws. This was heaven-defying. Even the celestial emperor asserted that Lu Ming would never be able to break through and become a celestial emperor in his lifetime. However, if Lu Ming could create a miracle and become a celestial emperor, how powerful would his battle prowess be? Lu Ming, I want you dead. Kill him. Below, Xian Lin screamed hysterically. He was the #1 genius in the Divine Fate land. He had never been defeated in a battle among his peers. He had never known the taste of failure. Just a moment ago, he had come in a domineering manner and said that he would defeat Lu Ming in 10 moves. However, now, he was easily defeated by Lu Ming. He couldn't even withstand a single blow. He couldn't accept such an outcome at all. He was furious and wanted to chop Lu Ming into pieces. A flower in a greenhouse can't withstand the wind and waves. Lu Ming shook his head, revealing a look of disdain. It seemed that Lu Ming's generation was the real golden generation. There were many geniuses and they competed with each other. Many of them had strong minds and had experienced many storms. However, there were fewer geniuses in this generation. Xian Lin's path had been too smooth. Although his talents were good, his mind was lacking compared to Tian Ming and the others. Once he met with failure and setbacks, he would immediately collapse. He couldn't bear it. Kill him for me. Xian Lin screamed. Lu Ming's words had pierced his heart. Lu Ming, kneel down and accept your death. The few people who came with Xian Lin dashed toward Lu Ming, emitting a terrifying aura. True emperors. 3 of them were true emperors. They were surrounded by godly light and looked like deities. Kneel down. The terrifying pressure of the true emperors pressed down on Lu Ming, wanting to force Lu Ming to his knees. Pressure my ass, all of you get lost. Lu Ming hollered and threw a punch out. The void exploded as the terrifying fist energy rushed towards the 3 true emperors. The 3 true emperors were almost scared to death when they felt Lu Ming's terrifying fist energy. That kind of power was simply not something they could contend against. They wanted to retreat, but it was too late. Boom! The force of the fist crushed over, and the bodies of the 3 people exploded. Then, under the force of the fist, they turned into flying flames. The scene suddenly quieted down, not a single sound could be heard. Everyone's eyes were wide open in disbelief. 3 true emperors, that was 3 true emperors. How could Lu Ming turn them into ashes with one punch? How was that possible? How could Lu Ming's combat ability be so powerful? Dongfang Shuiyu stood there in a daze, her mouth slightly open as if she was in a dream. Xian Lin was also stunned. His eyes were filled with fear and disbelief. Let me send you on your way. Lu Ming looked at Xian Lin and stomped down. A giant foot formed by the power of the world stomped down on Xian Lin. Ah! Xian Lin screamed in fear. At this moment, a figure flashed as fast as lightning and swept Xian Lin away before Lu Ming's giant foot stomped down. A white-haired old man in a white robe appeared in the distance. He was holding Xian Lin, who was still in shock. Great Emperor. Lu Ming whispered. It's one of the Xian clan's doyen, a great emperor. The Xian clan's great emperor has appeared. I think he's going to deal with Lu Ming. Lu Ming is too impulsive. The Xian clan is one of the strongest forces in Aeon City. Let's see how Lu Ming deals with the great emperor. A few people spoke out, recognizing this elder. Xian Lin was overjoyed when he came back to his senses. Doyen, ahaha, you came at the right time. Kill Lu Ming for me. Kill that bastard. Xian Lin shouted. Today, Lu Ming had humiliated him. He must kill Lu Ming to vent his anger. The Xian clan's doyen emitted a powerful aura. That was the aura of a great emperor. Within a radius of 10,000 miles, it was filled with terrifying pressure. Those with weaker cultivation had to kneel down. Ordinary people were too weak when facing a great emperor. They couldn't contend with him at all. It seems like you want to die too. Out of everyone's expectations, Lu Ming's face was calm as he spoke indifferently. He was actually threatening a great emperor. Everyone was dumbfounded. They originally thought that Lu Ming would be afraid when facing a great emperor. They thought that he would be terrified and run away. They never expected that Lu Ming would actually threaten a great emperor. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with cold light as he looked at the doyen. The Xian clan's doyen's heart beat wildly as though he was being targeted by a terrifying beast. In the next moment, he would be torn apart and killed. This feeling shocked him greatly. What's going on? What a terrifying feeling. Could it be that Lu Ming's strength is far above mine? No, I must retreat today. Chapter 2394. Retreat. Xian family's grand elder shouted. Xian Lin and Dongfang Shuiyu, who was in a daze, retreated and disappeared in an instant. They retreated? All around, everyone was dumbfounded. They thought that Xian family's grand elder would make a move. They did not expect him to retreat. Why would Xian family's grand elder retreat? Was he afraid of Lu Ming and did not dare to make a move? That's impossible, right? No one could figure it out. Lu Ming did not pursue. His purpose of coming to Aeon City was not Xian family but Mu family. If Xian family did not want to die, he would not bother. Mu family should have gathered all their forces this time. I hope Heng family, He family and Daluo Heaven's sect are also here. Don't let me come here in vain. Lu Ming looked in the direction of Mu family and chuckled. In the crowd, some people's eyes flickered and then left. These people were naturally people from Mu family. Next, Lu Ming and Xiao Yu strolled for a while and then returned to their residence. The news of Lu Ming's return, defeating Xian Lin in one move, killing 3 true emperors with one punch, and even scaring away a great emperor from Xian family spread quickly. Not only did it spread throughout Aeon City, but it also spread to every corner of Divine Fate Land. Countless people who heard the news were shocked. Lu Ming had broken through to Emperor Realm. Many people knew that Lu Ming had broken through to Martial Emperor Realm. The assertion of Heavenly Emperor was broken. Next, would Xian family make a move on Lu Ming? Many people guessed. As for Lu Ming's residence, it naturally attracted more people's attention. Many people were watching Lu Ming's residence at all times, concerned about the development of the situation. There were even many people who rushed over from other places. In Xian family's meeting hall, a group of people was discussing matters. These were the higher-ups of Xian family. Most of them were great Emperor Realm experts. We must kill Lu Ming. Fellow Grand Elders, please do it. Xian Lin shouted. His eyes were blood-red and filled with ferocious killing intent. During this period of time, the news of him being easily defeated by Lu Ming had spread like wildfire. His reputation had plummeted and was no longer what it used to be. He hated Lu Ming so much that he wanted nothing more than to grind Lu Ming's bones into dust. I think so too. We need to kill Lu Ming. Another person spoke. Old Nine, tell me, why did you retreat before? At the very top was an extremely old man. At this moment, he was looking at the doyen who had saved Xian Lin. The Grand Elder from before was the 9th Grand Elder of the Xian family. Elder 9 frowned and pondered for a moment, before he said, I can sense a terrifying aura from Lu Ming's body. I have a feeling that if I were to make a move, I would most likely die in Lu Ming's hands. What? Everyone else was shocked, and Xian Lin widened his eyes in disbelief. How is that possible? Could it be that Lu Ming could threaten the Great Emperor? Even if he has broken through to the Martial Emperor realm, it is impossible for him to break through to the Great Emperor realm so quickly. Impossible. Xian Lin found it hard to accept and shook his head repeatedly. Could it be that Lu Ming has really reached such a shocking level? The other Grand Elders whispered and their gazes were solemn. The higher one's cultivation, the more accurate their intuition would be. A great emperor's intuition would generally not be wrong. Lu Ming cannot be judged by common sense. Once he breaks through to the Martial Emperor realm, he will be like a dragon entering the sea. There will be no restrictions. It is not impossible for him to have the combat strength of a great emperor. I suggest that we do not take action against Lu Ming for the time being. Let's observe the situation first. The oldest Grand Elder said. I agree. I agree too. The other Grand Elders nodded. Although the remaining Grand Elders and Xian Lin wanted to take action, most of the Grand Elders did not agree and they had no choice. Time flew by and 5 days passed. At Lu Ming's residence. Brother Lu Ming, I have already found out that the Heng family, He family, and Daluo Heaven's sect are all in the Mu family. Moreover, almost all the great emperors of the Mu family have returned to the Mu family headquarters. They seem to be on guard. Bubbles conveyed some information to Lu Ming. These days, Bubbles and Dandan went out to investigate the Mu family and finally found something. Lu Ming came to Aeon City. Needless to say, the 2 groups of assassins from the Death Nation had failed. Lu Ming's strength frightened the Mu family. It was natural for them to gather experts to deal with the Mu family. It's time. The Mu family, Heng family, He family, and Daluo Heaven's sect will be destroyed today. Lu Ming said indifferently. Then he strode out and headed in the direction of the Mu family. Lu Ming's action naturally alarmed those who were paying attention to Lu Ming. Where is Lu Ming going? He is full of murderous intent. Is he going to kill his way to the Xian family? Impossible. No, this direction is not the Xian family. In the dark, many people were discussing and following behind Lu Ming secretly. Not long after, there were mountains and cranes in front of them. There were countless palaces. This was the Mu family. Boom! Lu Ming suddenly took a step forward. In the sky, endless power gathered and formed a giant foot. It covered the sky and the sun and stomped on the Mu family headquarters. The mountains trembled under the giant foot. Lu Ming was going to attack the Mu family. Everyone who followed him was dumbfounded. Their hearts were beating wildly. The Mu family's strength was stronger than the Xian family. What shocked them even more was Lu Ming's strength. This foot was like the foot of a deity. It was unbelievably powerful. Great Emperor. This was the strength of a great emperor. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Lu Ming actually had the strength of a great emperor. No wonder the patriarch of the Xian family had retreated. Silhouettes flew out from the Mu family's palace. When they saw the huge foot, they were in a state of panic, and they flew everywhere. Impudent. A long roar came from the Mu family. A giant palm flew out from the Mu family and turned into a giant palm. It collided with Lu Ming's giant foot. Boom! The mountains trembled and the void collapsed. Terrifying energy swept out in all directions. The giant foot and the giant hand dissipated together. In the sky above the Mu family, a middle-aged man appeared. His aura was extremely terrifying. The Mu family's patriarch. In the distance, someone whispered and recognized this person. Heavens, the Mu family's patriarch is said to be a 3-star great emperor. He just blocked Lu Ming's attack. Lu Ming has become so strong. Quick, spread the news. Something big has happened. Lu Ming is going to attack the Mu family. Quick. Many people discussed in shock. The news was spread out one by one. Aeon City was in an uproar. Countless people rushed towards the Mu family. When the Xian family received the news, they were also stunned. They then sent experts to the Mu family to monitor the situation. Whoosh! 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 After the Mu family's patriarch appeared, many figures rushed out from the depths of the Mu family. Each of these figures exuded a vast and boundless aura. The pressure of the great Tao filled the world. These were all great emperors. There were more than 20 of them. Chapter 2395. More than 20 great emperors from the Mu clan lined up in a row. Their auras were as vast as the sea, filling the entire Aeon City with a terrifying pressure. Such a lineup made the onlookers change their expressions and tremble with fear. However, Lu Ming looked indifferent as if he did not see so many great emperors. He glanced at the people of the Mu clan and frowned, saying, "Don't hide anymore. People of those clans, come out." The clans he mentioned were naturally the Han clan, the He clan and the Daluo Heaven sect. However, the master of the Mu clan sneered and did not answer Lu Ming's question. Instead, he asked, "Lu Ming, today you attacked the Mu clan for no reason. Do you think we are easy to bully? If you don't give an explanation today, you don't have to leave. Don't you know why I'm here? You're really good at pretending." The Mu clan, the Han clan, the He clan and the Daluo Heaven sect hired people from the Death Kingdom to kill me. Today's account should be settled properly. Lu Ming's voice spread all over the place. What? The Mu clan hired people from the Death Kingdom to kill Lu Ming? Is it true? It's very likely. Lu Ming killed the strongest genius of the Mu clan, Mu Yang. This is a deadly feud. How can the Mu clan let it go? Indeed, I'm afraid it's true. Otherwise, Lu Ming would not kill his way to the Mu clan. Lu Ming is really bold. He actually killed his way to the Mu clan. What do you think the result will be today? It's hard to say. If Lu Ming is not sure, he would not dare to come here. However, the Mu clan has been passed down for countless years and its foundation is unfathomable. The result is hard to say. Lu Ming's words caused an uproar and many people were talking about it. Nonsense. If the Mu clan wants to kill you, why would we hire people from the Death Kingdom? We can send anyone to kill you. The master of the Mu clan sneered. Any random person can kill me? Then I'd like to see if the Mu clan has this ability. Lu Ming sneered. Having said that, he stepped out and headed toward the Mu family. Bang! Bang! Every step Lu Ming took caused the void to vibrate continuously. Rays of light radiated from Lu Ming's body. That was the radiance of the laws. 1 type, 2 types, 3 types, all sorts of laws appeared one after another. When more than 10 types of laws appeared, the scene was dead silent. Everyone was tongue-tied, and their eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Oh my God, what did I see? The laws of primal chaos, the laws of death, the laws of life, and the laws of reincarnation. No, there's also the eternal law, the void law, the primordial law, and the spacetime law. 8 of them. He has mastered 8 supreme laws. There are also 9 types of Monarch Tao laws and 17 types of laws. He has mastered 17 types of laws. Moreover, he has cultivated all 17 types of laws to the limit and reached the 3rd realm. How is this possible? How is this possible? Freak, this is a freak. When they saw Lu Ming reveal all the laws, everyone in the surroundings shouted hysterically, unable to control their emotions. This could no longer be described as shock. Their emotions were 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times stronger than shock. The truth of cultivation was that a person could only master 1 type of supreme law. Moreover, not everyone could master the supreme law. Those who could master 1 type of supreme law were the top geniuses in the world. But now, there was a person who not only mastered the supreme law, but also not 1, 2, or 3 types, but 8 types. This was not only breaking the truth, but also trampling the truth into pieces. One could imagine how everyone felt. The people of the Mu clan were tongue-tied, their eyes were wide open, and they were horrified. In the depths of the Mu clan, the experts of the Han clan, He clan, and Dalyo Heaven's sect who were hiding in the dark were almost scared to death when they saw this scene. Lu Ming was shrouded in 17 types of light. He stood in the air like a god descending from the heavens. Come, let's see who can kill me. Lu Ming's eyes shot out 2 rays of divine light as he stared at the people of the Mu clan. So what if you have mastered 17 types of laws? You're still in the true emperor realm. Let me kill you. A tall and sturdy old man stepped out from the Mu clan like a lion. This old man's cultivation had reached the 3-star Great Sovereign realm. The Mu clan did not dare to underestimate Lu Ming. Although Lu Ming looked like a true emperor realm expert, he had mastered 17 types of laws. Most importantly, 8 of them were supreme laws. With the combination of so many laws, Lu Ming's combat strength could not be measured by common sense. It was possible for him to fight against a 1-star Great Sovereign or even a 2-star Great Sovereign. But they had sent out a 3-star Great Sovereign. The difference between a true emperor and a 3-star Great Sovereign was too great. They did not believe that Lu Ming could kill a 3-star Great Sovereign. Even if the 3-star Great Sovereign could not defeat him, he could at least keep his life and test out Lu Ming's true combat strength. Bang! Bang! The old man, who was like a lion, had a crazy aura. He stepped on the void and dashed toward Lu Ming at an increasingly fast speed. Slash! Suddenly, a saber appeared in the old man's hand and he slashed towards Lu Ming. The saber light was shocking and lit up the sky as if it was going to split the sky of Aeon City into 2. Kill. Lu Ming said indifferently. Before his voice died away, a long spear appeared in his hand. It was a long spear that was formed by the laws and the power of the world. Lu Ming's arm muscles bulged and he threw the long spear out. Swoosh! The long spear flew out like a ray of light, faster than lightning. This long spear not only contained the power of Lu Ming's power of the world, the power of the laws and the power of his physical body. The moment the long spear collided with the saber light was shattered. The long spear did not slow down and continued to stab towards the old man. The three-star great sovereign of the Mu clan did not expect that his all-out attack could not withstand a single blow from Lu Ming. He was stunned for a moment and his fate was sealed. Puff! Lu Ming's long spear directly pierced through his dantian and destroyed his small world. Together with his body, he flew out into the depths of the Mu family and crashed into a hall. Boom! The palace directly exploded, and a large group of figures flew out from inside. These people were from the Han clan, He clan, and Daluo Heaven sect. The three-star great sovereign of the Mu clan was pierced through by Lu Ming's long spear. He was nailed to the ground and screamed in agony. My cultivation base, my cultivation base. The shrill screams were heard all over the place. Hiss, the whole place was filled with gasps. A three-star great sovereign was nailed to the ground by Lu Ming and his cultivation was destroyed. This scene was too shocking. A three-star great sovereign could not withstand a single blow. How could this be? Had Lu Ming's combat strength reached such a terrifying level? Everyone felt like they were dreaming. In the crowd in the distance, there were people from the Xian clan who were watching. There were several founding elders, including Xian Lin and Dongfang Shuiyu. At this moment, they were completely petrified and could not stop gasping. How could this be? How could this be? Xian Lin was like a fool and kept whispering, "You're tuning into the Biyao's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories."